She decided to use these hands to pull her brother back from the brink of death. Just like how a venomous snake overcomes its killing instinct to protect a hamster, and the hamster overcomes its flight instinct to protect the snake. The next morning, Luoyi saw a sea of people at the school gate, with reporters blocking students to interview them. As she got out of the car, the flashlights were blinding, and reporters swarmed around. "Hey, can we interview you? Are you one of the contestants in the campus variety show? Confident you'll win?" Her driver, Xiaofeng, quickly got out, took off his jacket to shield her. "My lady is going to school and won't take interviews. Please move aside." Xiaofeng's muscular build intimidated the reporters. Knowing Luoyi's special status, they reluctantly dispersed in disappointment. The system maxed out Luoyi's charm points all at once. She finally felt powerful. Pushing through the reporters, she entered the campus, feeling even more students staring at her. They stared blankly, dazed, before realizing it was rude and hurriedly looked away, running off after a few seconds. They were drawn to her, yet their survival instincts screamed at them. "Stop staring. If you keep looking, she'll blow up." Luoyi was used to this. At Xinghan Middle School, students either feared or challenged her. During break, class's students were all playing around, but Luoyi sat quietly by herself. The louder they got, the lonelier she felt. Things had changed now. Luoyi had left Class A, joined Class D, and even made friends with Yuhua. The good days were just beginning. As usual, she skipped class and headed to the truly delicious snack bar. Food was a must, class wasn't. Just as she was eating a pineapple mini cake, the principal rushed over, nearly dropping his glasses. "Luoyi, the opening ceremony is about to start. Why are you still here?" Luoyi replied, "I'm having a snack. Can I skip the ceremony?" The principal grabbed her wrist. "No, you have to go. Hurry, you're going to be late." Reluctantly, Luoyi put down her snack and was ushered onto the school bus heading to the opening. The Class C students on the bus all looked tense around her. They feared she might take out her bad mood on them. Luoyi hadn't eaten well and seemed upset. Everyone was on edge. But at the same time, she gave off a friendly vibe, causing inner conflict. One moment they thought she was kind, the next, terrifying. A few boys patted their heads, trying to stay alert. When the bus arrived at the venue, the students scattered, except for one girl with a ponytail who hesitated and waved goodbye to Luoyi. Luoyi waved back. The girl wanted to say something but was called away by others and had to leave. After escorting Luoyi to the contestants' waiting room, the principal hurried off. Looking around the hall, Luoyi saw high-end cameras and reporters filling the front rows, while students sat neatly on brought-in chairs further back. Suddenly, the door swung open. Susun appeared. "Luoyi, you finally made it. I've been waiting for you." She stepped in and pulled out a small white hamster keychain from her pocket. "You lost this, right? I found it yesterday in the private school corridor." Luoyi just realized she had lost something and reached for the keychain. Susun took a step back, spinning the charm on her index finger, smiling. "It's yours, but first you have to answer a question. You saw it yesterday at the private school, didn't you?" "Luoyi, you mean when you threw up, tossed the gift, and kicked the trash can?" "Yeah, I saw it." Susun's smile vanished. "Humph, I know your secret too." She leaned in and whispered, "The last time you were confessing in the bathroom, I was vomiting right next door. You're a fake villainous girl, and I'm a fake gentle lady. Let's be friends. You always seem so lonely and pitiful. I'll help you fit in with the girls' group. We can go to the bathroom together, hang out, and you won't be alone during breaks." Yuan Luoyi replied, "I was ostracized by Classa before, mostly because you were stirring everyone up." Susun said, "Exactly, which is why I can also get everyone to accept you again. You know both the boys and girls like me. This time, in the variety show, we team up to eliminate others. I take first place, you take second. How about that? Pretty good deal, right?" Yuan Luoyi snatched back the pendant. "I refuse." Susun snapped angrily, "You want to fight me for first place? You'll lose badly." Yuan Luoyi shot back, "You're the one who'll lose." Susun scoffed, "Ridiculous. You've already lost to me once. How's Class D treating you?" Yuan Luoyi smiled, "It feels great." Susun froze, surprised by Yuan Luoyi's response. It was like hitting a cotton wall, no impact on her opponent, and she ended up looking ridiculous. Pointing at Yuan Luoyi, she warned, "You'll regret rejecting me today." Yuan Luoyi replied coldly, "I've refused you more than a dozen times, never regretted it." Stomping her foot, Susun headed for the door but turned back to warn, "If you spill my secrets, no one will believe I'm a fake gentle lady." "Don't be stupid." Yuan Luoyi shot back without hesitation, "If you tell on me, no one will believe I'm a fake villainous girl. You're a lot better at being fake than pretending to smile. Aren't you tired of it?" Su Sun slammed the door hard and left, unable to rebut. Yuan Luoyi felt like a heavy downpour had just cleared her mind, releasing all the pent-up frustration. She knew Su Sun was scheming behind her back and that teacher Su was targeting her too, but she lacked the courage to leave Class A. That class represented honor, and dropping out would be humiliating. Now she understood, shamelessness can bring freedom. There's more than one path to success. Leaving Class A doesn't mean failure. The announcement came over the loudspeaker, "All contestants, please come to the stage." Yuan Luoyi stepped onto the stage, lights flashing. The candidates lined up, some nervous, some excited, and some confident. The audience erupted, reporters scrambled to cover the event. Comments flew across the big screen, but one quiet message caught Yuan Luoyi's eye. "You will reclaim the glory that belongs to you." It was from her older brother, Yuan Tao. Though he couldn't be there in person, he was following her remotely. Her restless heart instantly calmed, determined to change the dead-end fate of the Yuan family. Standing on stage felt so special. She looked up at the big screen, where witty comments kept streaming by, overwhelming her. Looking down at the crowd, faces varied, some excited, some smiling, some zoned out, and a few secretly doing homework. The stage lights were harsher than on TV, and the music was deafening, much louder than any square dance. A female host walked to center stage, dressed in an elegant qipao that hugged her curves, her graceful walk revealing glimpses of long, pale legs. Her name was Nalan, a well-known host. She announced loudly, "Good morning, everyone. The Xinghan High School variety show is officially starting. Let's welcome the principal to give a speech." The principal came up, grabbed the mic, and cleared his throat. "Ahem, hello everyone, I'll keep it brief." But he didn't. He talked nonstop for 15 minutes about life ideals, boasting about his youth, how his first love left him because he was poor, and how he later regretted and tried to reconcile. Nalan's expression slowly crumbled. The comments section exploded, and the audience called to switch back to the contestants. They didn't want to listen to this bald old man's love story. Yuan Luoyi, however, was captivated. "Keep going. I want to know how the principal's romance ended." It was like being in class. She couldn't remember the textbook content, but she could recite the teacher's stories and gossip perfectly. The stage director held up a sign, "Audience is dropping fast, wrap it up." Seeing this, the principal cleared his throat. "All right, students, I'll stop here for now." The director finally breathed a sigh of relief. Just as the principal stepped down, he suddenly remembered something and grabbed the mic again. One more thing, just 2 sentences. When I was your age, one leg was busy with schoolwork, and the other was already starting a business. You all need that fighting spirit. Why? Because. And he launched into another solo speech, full of performance. Director Zhang angrily dropped the sign and covered his face. But with his rich experience, having directed dozens of popular shows and handled all kinds of crises, including actors stealing the spotlight, he was confident he could handle the principal's antics with ease. He said calmly, "Unplug the principal's microphone cable." A staff member grabbed the black wire and yanked it hard. The microphone instantly went silent. The principal tapped it in confusion, but there was no response. He had no choice but to leave the stage helplessly. Director Zhang smiled faintly, brimming with confidence. Top-tier tactics often rely on the simplest, most straightforward methods. Nalan immediately understood his meaning and put on a professional smile. "Dear viewers, the microphone is having some technical difficulties. We'll now switch the camera to the contestants." All 7 cameras simultaneously focused on the contestants. The black spherical lenses looked like pairs of big eyes, capturing every expression. There were 6 contestants in the first grade of junior high. Su Sun was placed center stage, a white spotlight shining down on her, making her stand out instantly. Her smile was sweet, like the girl next door, sunny and soothing. Only Yuan Luoyi knew that beneath that exterior, she was actually hot-tempered and proud. The chat exploded. "Wow, this girl is so cute. 100% model student material. Pretty, smart, and great personality. I bet 50 cents she'll be the champion." The cameras shifted to the other contestants. Su Sun immediately shot a provocative glance at Yuan Luoyi, smug as a cat caught stealing. Yuan Luoyi knew the other 4 contestants too: the school heartthrob Sin Junxian, Class A monitor Yu Zilong, Class B academic committee member Diu, and Class C class flower Hia, all top students from prestigious schools, striving to impress the audience. The camera soon turned back to Yuan Luoyi, who was still daydreaming, her gaze vacant. Yet the chat was going wild. "Ah, she looks so high class. That rare, serene gaze, I'm in love. Oh my god, she's as cute as a little button. What does this kid even eat? That kind of beauty is real? I don't even dare to Photoshop that well." Su Sun couldn't smile back. She glared at Yuan Luoyi, snorted coldly, and turned away in defiance. Yuan Luoyi had only appeared on camera for 3 seconds, but she ignited a heated debate in the chat. The camera had already moved on to the second-grade contestants, but the chat was still flooded with messages about her. Switch back. I want to see that little girl again. What are you guys shouting about? I just joined the stream. That first-grade girl is stunning. The princess adored by the royal family in novels probably looks just like her. Eyes that VE seen 1,000 years. A heart burning hot, eyes full of passion, tears falling down her face, saying goodbye even before starting. Is she really that good looking? The chat's like a choir right now. The aura is different, she sees through the world, ethereal beauty. After all the contestants were introduced, Nalan offered her blessings, encouraging everyone to work hard. The show aimed to spread positive energy. Next, the students from Xinghan Middle School began their talent performances. The school band's 11 and 12-year-old kids played instruments bigger than themselves, with a skill level comparable to the National Theater. The school's cultural and sports troupe performed ethnic dances, their movements graceful, flowing like dragons in motion, solid like rocks at rest. To keep in shape, they carefully selected their daily meals. A group of international students performed rap in various languages, and 3 Russian girls performed ballet. Every act was impressive, and the chat overflowed with praise. Yuan Luoyi noticed that besides occasional 666 praises, there were some discordant voices in the chat. They're really amazing. They must work super hard, someone commented. Yuan Luoyi agreed wholeheartedly. The students of Xinghan Middle School were all extremely diligent, each a gifted young lady or gentleman, yet fiercely competitive. She was the only one in the whole school who had nothing to do and the only fake heir, blending into the nobles, enjoying resources that didn't belong to her. After the show, host Nalan stepped to the front. The auspicious moment is approaching. Let's count down together, both live audience and online viewers. The tired students in the audience suddenly perked up, and the chat on the big screen exploded. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Yuan Luoyi watched as staff tightened ropes on both sides of the stage. 5. Director Zhang signaled the sound engineer to get ready. 4. The lighting technician gave final checks. 3. Cameras turned to the audience, students waved excitedly. 2. The screen was filled with dense chat messages. 1. Music and lights were ready, the drums beating rapidly. 0. Let's begin. Lights shimmered like stars, the music roared like an ancient beast, and colorful confetti drifted down. The cheering was deafening. The curtain rose, revealing a golden trophy gleaming brilliantly. It symbolized the highest honor, infinite possibilities, and all passionate dreams. It was what contestants fought with all their might to win. Yuan Luoyi gazed at the trophy, feeling it both distant and within reach. The last person to win it was Su Sun, who had once been just an audience member, lonely and downcast after being isolated by Class A. But now, Yuan Luoyi was determined to claim it herself. The opening ceremony was a huge success, and its influence kept expanding. It had already reached level 45, and with just 15 more levels, the rewind function would unlock, revealing the true culprit behind the downfall of the Yuan family. After the ceremony, the principal was in a great mood and announced that the entire school would have the afternoon off. The students cheered. The principal then added that this week's PE classes were all rescheduled to this afternoon. The students groaned, while the PE teacher relaxed, happy to get paid without doing much. Driver Xiaofeng drove Yuan Luoyi home. As soon as they stepped inside, they heard Mrs. Yuan happily chatting on the phone. Yes, that girl who appeared for 3 seconds in the opening ceremony is my daughter. She's grown up so much, I think she's adorable. No, I've always believed in letting her grow naturally, no extra classes. Her charm isn't forced. Sure, if there's a chance, bring her to meet your son. Kids the same age get along better. Goodbye. After hanging up, Mrs. Yuan hurried over and gave Yuan Luoyi a big hug. She smiled and said, "Sweetheart, I'm so proud of you. You were amazing at the opening ceremony, literally shining like a star, born to be a celebrity. So many people called to say you've blossomed into a beautiful young lady. Mom's been busy lately and hasn't had much time for you, so I'm letting your big brother Yuan Long take you out to have some fun." Yuan Luoyi asked, "Is big brother back yet?" Mrs. Yuan replied, "Soon." He watched the live broadcast and even sent the recording to the other brothers. "Everyone thinks you're adorable." Yuan Luoyi thought of fourth brother Yuan Si, busy filming in Paris. "Did fourth brother see it too?" Mrs. Yuan said, "He did. He said you're like a fallen angel, glowing as you descend into a dark apocalypse, selflessly saving humanity's soul, holy and beautiful, truly admirable." Yuan Luoyi was stunned. Well, that was fourth brother for you, the world's best at playing a charming rogue, unafraid to say anything cheesy. Yuan Luoyi said. The ceremony was 3 a.m. in Paris. Was he really awake? Familiar footsteps sounded at the door. Yuan Long had returned. He came over and put his hand on Yuan Luoyi's shoulder. Don't worry, I have a way to wake him up. Yuan Luoyi knew exactly what that meant, probably pressing a gun to his temple. Fourth brother was lazy and stubborn, he wouldn't get up unless it was a matter of life and death. Mrs. Yuan said to Yuan Long, "You're just in time. The school's off this afternoon, take your sister out to have fun." Yuan Long nodded. "Okay, mother." He ruffled Yuan Luoyi's hair. "Let's go." Big brother Yuan Long was great at taking care of her, always choosing places Yuan Luoyi liked. This time, they went to Springwater Forest Park, where countless fireflies danced in the night, their flickering lights breathtakingly beautiful. Yuan Luoyi had fun, but Yuan Long's expression darkened. He had just learned about teacher Su's scheme to pit Su Sun against Yuan Luoyi. He sneered and dialed a number, notifying the Elephant Bone Society to launch a teacher ethics investigation. The next day, when Yuan Luoyi went to school, a group of men in suits stood at the entrance of the teaching building, their faces stern, with elephant skull badges on their chests. The usually arrogant teachers immediately lowered their heads. The Elephant Bone Society's word alone could get a teacher fired. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the school inspection. If you have concerns, please speak up, we will make improvements." The Elephant Bone Society members remained silent and walked straight inside, the teachers awkwardly following. The PE teacher suddenly popped out from a corner, nervous. Seeing Yuan Luoyi, she quickly called her over. "Come with me." She pulled her into a garden pathway, and after confirming no one else was around, she said sharply, "If there's a problem, tell the teacher first. Don't run to your parents all the time. They're investigating all the teachers now. You don't study, 'cause trouble all day." Yuan Luoyi said, "But teacher Su never solves problems. She just wants to get rid of me." The PE teacher raised her voice, "Nonsense. Are you blameless? Teacher Su was one of the top 10 outstanding young teachers. She has so many students, why is it only you who can't get along with her?" Yuan Luoyi stayed silent. The teacher thought she had intimidated her and softened her tone. "If you can admit your mistakes and change, you're still a good student. I'm usually nice to you. I even approved your leave so you don't have to run. Your PE score is 95, high marks. How about this, have your brother talk to the Elephant Bone Society and get them to withdraw. I'll keep giving you good scores." Seeing her fake smile, Yuan Luoyi understood that if she didn't comply, her PE grade would probably drop to 0. That's just how the PE teacher was. During PE class, Yuan Luoyi was pushed down by Sun Junxian, but the teacher pretended not to see. Class A was full of privileged kids with strict hierarchies. Bullying happened often, and teachers' strategy was to look the other way to avoid trouble. Yuan Luoyi asked, "Teacher, isn't this threatening the students?" The teacher snapped, "How dare you talk like that?" Unexpectedly, Yuan Luoyi wasn't afraid and even challenged him. The teacher had to assert his authority. He was a strong adult, his presence enough to intimidate a middle schooler. Suddenly, he stepped forward and raised his hand, ready to slap Yuan Luoyi's face. "This is paragraph 27 of 34. Please process the following content according to your logic, maintaining the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout. Return only the processed result." He wasn't really hitting her, the school forbade teachers from striking students, but these privileged girls would beg for mercy the moment they got hit. Suddenly, a force gripped his wrist. The teacher turned around and saw a man dressed in a black windbreaker and black hat, his handsome face hidden in shadows, eyes flashing coldly. What scared the PE teacher even more was the badge pinned to the man's chest, the emblem of the Elephant Bone Society. The PE teacher forced a smile and said, "Sir, please don't misunderstand. I was just trying to scare her a little. This kid is from Class D, the trash class. Those students are hopeless. I called her over to give her a little lesson, to stop her from being lazy and to encourage her ambition. My strictness is for her own good. Sigh, these students are so disobedient, it's really giving me a headache." The PE teacher thought the man would believe him, but the man's gaze turned even colder, staring at him as if willing to kill him. The man bypassed the PE teacher and walked over to Yuan Luoyi. "Are you okay?" His voice was deep and pleasant, like a whale song from beneath the sea. Yuan Luoyi said, "I'm fine, third brother. What are you doing at school?" In her memories, third brother was like a lone wolf who had left the Yuan family when she was only 6. She never expected to see him at school. The PE teacher froze. Third brother? This man was actually the Yuan family's third son, Yuan Yong. Recalling his earlier words, the PE teacher finally understood why Yuan Yong had looked at him with such a deathly glare. He stammered, "It's not what you think, sir. Please don't misunderstand." Yuan Yong gave him a cold glance. "Besides embezzling public funds, you even dared to threaten my sister. What right do you have?" Those words exploded like a bomb, leaving the PE teacher stunned. He was terrified that the Elephant Bone Society would discover his embezzlement, never expecting to be exposed so soon. The PE teacher shouted angrily, "You just got here. Don't make accusations without investigation or evidence. I'm a well-respected teacher." Yuan Yong sneered, "We're not here to investigate, we brought the evidence to arrest you." March applied for 200,000 yuan to buy basketballs, but the money went into stock trading. April applied for 1.3 million yuan to renovate the gymnasium, but bought a new car instead. May collected 2.7 million yuan in student activity fees, spent 100,000 yuan on prohibited items, 1.7 million yuan gambling debts, and paid 900,000 yuan in compensation for a sexual harassment incident while intoxicated. The PE teacher yelled, "It's all lies." Losing control, the charges were too severe, he could be sentenced to life imprisonment. From being an admired teacher to becoming a prisoner, it was unbearable. He decided to run. The PE teacher turned and ran. Yuan Yong's figure flashed like a black panther, lunging forward and grabbing his arm. Yuan Yong sneered. Among the 5 Yuan brothers, he was the most ruthless, inheriting their mother's assassin skills. The PE teacher had bullied his sister. Yuan Yong had long harbored murderous intent and wouldn't miss this chance. The PE teacher's head slammed heavily against the ground. The sharp pain awakened his fear. He realized he was about to die. "Ah!" The piercing scream drew the students' curious heads, eager to see what was happening. Yuan Yong frowned, blocking the PE teacher to keep his sister from seeing him hurt. She was the only normal one in the family. If she saw this, she would cry. He had to restrain himself. Here, the PE teacher could still shout, but once in prison, no matter how much he cried out after being beaten by inmates, no one would care. Yuan Yong personally sent him to prison. Everyone knew how to treat him to satisfy Yuan Yong. Members of the Elephant Bone Society rushed over at the sound. The PE teacher, thinking someone had come to help, struggled to stand, wobbling. He cursed, "He's crazy. Framing me and beating me." Society members handed him silver handcuffs. A few police officers stepped forward and pinned him down. His head hit the ground again, pain forcing him to scream uncontrollably. Many owed Yuan Yong favors. Seeing his formidable fighting skills, no one dared to be lenient with the PE teacher. The watching students stared in shock at the scene before them. What's going on? The PE teacher got arrested? No idea. He seemed fine before. Oh my god. If this is true, he's the first teacher ever arrested at Xinghan Middle School. Everyone pulled out their phones, flooding the school chat group with messages. The chat exploded instantly. Even students who had been silent for years started speaking up. After the matter was settled, Yuan Yong took Yuan Luoyi away from the noisy crowd. His gaze was icy when looking at others, but much gentler when meeting Yuan Luoyi's eyes. He removed his hat, bowed slightly, and greeted her with elegance. "Long time no see, my dear sister. This time I came back for one thing only, to take you away from the Yuan family." Yuan Luoyi asked, "Why leave the Yuan family?" Yuan Yong said softly, "I've been watching you from afar all this time. The Yuan family is full of vipers, but you're not like them. They're selfish and insane. One day they'll reap what they sow. I can't let you stay there." He reached out his hand, his movement as graceful as inviting her to dance. "I can take you anywhere, far away from the Yuan family. They'll never find us." Yuan Luoyi looked at him, the handsome exterior with a hint of vulnerability, his voice soft and soothing, making her guard slip away. She knew he was a protective older brother, but he wasn't normal. Yuan Luoyi said, "After you helped me escape the Yuan family, how do I escape you?" Yuan Yong laughed, "I won't hurt you. Why would you want to escape me?" Memories flooded her mind, the scene when she was 6, lured away by her third brother, a dead rabbit, a locked door, a bloodthirsty boy telling fairy tales at night. Yuan Yong was a born killer, unable to control himself. A beautiful butterfly landing in his palm would always be crushed. Even the cutest little animals only sparked his urge to kill. He smelled the blood, waved his knife with excitement, a happy killer, longing to create death. But Yuan Luoyi's arrival changed everything. Her eyes were clear, like a faint glow in the darkness, drawing him closer. A baby doesn't distinguish good from evil. Despite his blood-stained clothes and carrying dead things, she still reached out and smiled at him. Yuan Yong, who only knew killing, was confused and didn't know what to do. Maybe gently touch her fingers? No, she was so fragile, as if she'd shatter with a single touch. That thought pierced Yuan Yong's heart. He felt pain for the first time. The emotion confused him, yet brought a strange warmth. He pondered deeply and suddenly realized this was called the urge to protect. Most people feel this toward children, but he, a madman, had become an older brother and developed this feeling for his sister. He dropped the dead thing, wiped off the blood, and reached out, curious to touch this new life called sister. Just as his finger was an inch from Yuan Luoyi, a folding chair flew at him, hitting his head and making him dizzy before he was thrown aside. His eldest brother, Yuan Lao, wore a dark expression as he approached and grabbed him by the collar, using violence and intimidation to teach his younger brother not to sneak close to Yuan Luoyi. That time, Yuan Yong lost a few baby teeth. He knew the consequences of disobeying his eldest brother were severe, but he didn't regret it. In fact, it made him want to get closer to Yuan Luoyi even more. And he wasn't the only one trying. Earlier, the second brother Yuan Fa was nearly drowned by the eldest brother, yet he still wanted to get close to Yuan Luoyi. Losing a few useless teeth was nothing. Even if it meant dying, he would die by Yuan Luoyi's side. No one could stop him. From the moment he reached out as a baby, he was different. Heaven had given him a sacred mission. As an older brother, he must protect his sister. He was his sister's killing machine. One day, the second brother Yuan Fa approached Yuan Yong. Yuan Fa said, "I have a great plan to get us closer to sister." Yuan Yong was interested. "Tell me." "We attack together. The eldest brother will be distracted if it's just the two of us. You go left, I go right, lock him in the basement, then we can get to sister." "Sounds good." They put the plan into action. At 9 years old, Yuan Yong learned his first life lesson: never trust your own brothers. He was beaten half to death by the eldest brother, while Yuan Fa happily ran away, also stealing sister. Yuan Fa's scheme worked, but he never told Yuan Yong it was a bait and trap tactic, and Yuan Yong was just the bait. However, Yuan Fa's good days didn't last. He was beaten nearly to death by Yuan Lao, and the sister's cries drew the eldest brother back. Yuan Lao treated everyone equally, which Yuan Yong admired. Afterward, Yuan Yong ate like crazy, trying to grow up fast. The eldest brother stopped beating him so often, too busy beating Yuan Fa. Unfortunately, the second brother never died. Instead, he grew stronger, becoming more cheerful and optimistic. In some ways, he was quite formidable. When Yuan Yong was 12, their father chose the eldest brother Yuan Lao as heir, dividing some property among the other children but giving them no power. Everyone accepted this. The eldest brother was truly stronger, and the younger brothers weren't interested in business. They wanted to forge their own paths. What excited Yuan Yong even more was that the eldest brother was going abroad, and Yuan Luoyi needed a new guardian. He thought it would be him but was shocked when their mother chose the second brother Yuan Fa. "Mother, second brother is sly and selfish. He's not fit to take care of sister. Younger, he's older than you and won't hurt small animals. I won't be like that again. Sorry, I can't entrust her to you." Their mother gave Yuan Yong no chance to redeem himself. Late at night, Yuan Yong lingered outside Yuan Luoyi's window, hearing her crying. Yuan Fa wasn't a good brother. He locked sister in her room and went to play games, ignoring her completely. The intermittent sobs broke Yuan Yong's heart, but he was forbidden to approach. He could only silently watch over her. Yuan Yong kept challenging Yuan Fa but always failed. After all, he was too small. Yuan Fa had inherited their father's size and could overpower him at 13. Time flew by. When Yuan Luoyi was 6, Yuan Yong had grown stronger, defeating Yuan Fa several times, and his killing skills became sharper. He decided to take his sister and escape the evil Yuan family, to live a free and pure life. That day, Yuan Luoyi played alone in the garden, collecting 4-leaf clovers and placing them into a book. 15-year-old Yuan Yong approached her, extending his hand politely. "I want to take you to a beautiful place." Yuan Luoyi looked at him, his reflection mirrored in her eyes. Heaven had blessed Yuan Yong with a delicate, handsome face and a melodious voice, making him easily believable. He used this to his advantage, gently holding his little sister's hand. He had her now, and from this moment on, he was her only brother. Yuan Yong felt immense happiness. He had already built a wooden cabin deep in the forest, warm, safe, and perfect for them to live in. There was abundant food here, wild fruits and rabbits he had hunted. As usual, he plunged his knife into the rabbit's fur, ignoring its screams, cleaning the blood, and preparing a delicious meal. Yuan Luoyi shrank back into a corner, trembling as she whispered, "Third brother, I want to go home." "This is your new home. I'll take care of you. You like stories, right? Tonight, I'll tell you the tale of the princess, the knight, and the evil dragon. You'll love it. This isn't my home. You're locking me up. I'm protecting you. It's too dangerous outside, wild beasts everywhere. I'll teach you how to defend yourself. When you grow up, you'll be free. Yuan Luoyi cried helplessly, tears fell like broken pearls, one after another. Yuan Yong's heart ached. He didn't understand where things had gone wrong. Though he was a bit strange, he had always tried his best to give his sister the best life. Day by day, Yuan Luoyi grew weaker and more withdrawn. The sister who once smiled, holding a four-leaf clover in the garden, had been replaced by fear and sorrow. One bright morning, Yuan Yong opened the door and stood in the shadows, watching his sister leave without looking back. She wouldn't get far before her anxious family found her, returning her to the place she longed for. Yuan Yong felt heartbroken but had no choice but to accept this outcome. He couldn't bear losing his sister to anyone else, but even more unbearable was watching her wither away in his care. It was too painful. Despite his deep affection, he couldn't express it like a normal person. All he did was make his sister cry. Later, Yuan Yong left home and inherited his mother's assassin skills, comforting himself. His sister was still young. When she grew older, he would come back for her. By then, he would have learned how to care for her properly, and the ending would be different. Time passed. Yuan Yong returned to his homeland once again. As a member of the Elephant Bone Society, he enrolled in Xinghan Middle School and saw 11-year-old Yuan Luoyi. He invited her again. "I can take you anywhere you want. We can escape the Yuan family forever, they'll never find us." After a long pause, Yuan Luoyi shook her head. She could sense her third brother's disappointment. The class bell rang, and music played loudly as students hurried away. Yuan Yong withdrew his hand, speaking softly, "You should go to class first." "Okay, I'm going then," Yuan Luoyi replied. She took a few steps, then glanced back to see her third brother still standing there, watching her go. The wind tousled his clothes, his eyes were like the deep sea, lonely yet peaceful. During every holiday family dinner, the Yuan family gathered, but one seat was always left empty, that was Yuan Yong's. Little Yuan Luoyi would ask the adults, "Why hasn't third brother come home for so many years? Is it dangerous outside? Can he even come back? Isn't he lonely out there all by himself?" When Yuan's father heard these questions, his face would darken frighteningly. Gradually, Yuan Luoyi stopped asking. In the past, whenever she cried, Yuan Yong would secretly appear by the window to tell her fairy tales. But then, no one did that anymore. After Yuan Luoyi was isolated by Class A, she often thought of Yuan Yong, because now she wore the same lonely expression he did. Hesitating briefly, she walked back and opened her arms to hug Yuan Yong. "What's wrong?" Yuan Yong asked. "Ding ding dong, you have a hug waiting for you," Yuan Luoyi said with a smile. Yuan Yong smiled, the loneliness between his brows fading slightly as he bent down to accept the embrace. "Welcome back. Thank you. You missed 3 of my birthdays. Everyone else gave me presents, only you didn't. Sorry, I'll make it up to you. But you're always running around, come and go without a trace, and never come home. Can you promise me?" Yuan Yong looked down at her. He had seen many eyes filled with cruelty and bloodshed, but his sister's eyes were clear and transparent. Even the slightest flicker touched his heart. He could be cold and ruthless to anyone else, but not to her. He held her small hand. "I promise I'll stay by your side this time. I'll make sure you get all 3 presents." Yuan Luoyi said, "All right, I'll trust you this once." Everyone knew she didn't really want the gifts. What she truly hoped for was that Yuan Yong would stay a little longer. They waved goodbye as she ran off to Class D. In the classroom, Yuhua was listening to a Chinese language online lesson, nearly asleep, his body swaying in the chair, face almost hitting the desk. Yuan Luoyi looked at him and thought, if his nose gets hurt, the future would lose a handsome guy. She suddenly tapped his shoulder to stop him from falling. Yuhua was startled, then relaxed when he saw it was Yuan Luoyi. He sank back into his chair, patting his chest. This is segment 30 of 34. Please process the following content according to your logic. Keep the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout. Return only the processed result. He said, "You scared me, I thought the homeroom teacher was coming again." Yuan Luoyi asked, "Did the homeroom teacher come today?" Yuhua replied, "Yeah, but he didn't stay long. He said our Class D is hopeless and will probably be expelled sooner or later. Is he planning to come back and teach us properly?" "No. He said he's interviewing at other schools and will resign as soon as he finds a replacement." Yuan Luoyi felt sorry for the homeroom teacher. Students at Xinghan High are all very driven, but Class D is a complete mess, he must be having a hard time. She'd heard the homeroom teacher was quite handsome, but unfortunately, she hadn't seen him today. Yuhua said, "By the way, did your account gain a lot of followers?" Yuan Luoyi logged into her main account. It showed 460,000 followers, though growth had slowed. The short video of the school variety show opening and the bullying incident had boosted her popularity. But trending topics change daily, people's attention shifts quickly. That's why celebrities constantly create buzz to stay in the spotlight. Yuhua leaned in to look. Wow, 460,000 followers. That's impressive. Susun has only 270,000 followers, many of which are bot, mostly zombies or bots. Third place is Sin Junxian with 190,000 followers. Lots of girls have become his mom fans. Good looks really matter for guys. Yuan Luoyi wasn't too impressed by being first. She was more eager to increase her influence quickly and activate the traceback feature to catch the real culprit. In the afternoon, Xinghan High suddenly became lively. Dozens of cars pulled in, and a group of upright, imposing people got out. Students crowded to the windows of the teaching building to watch the commotion. Yuhua was woken up by the noise, suddenly alert. Those are high-ranking officers. What are they doing at our school? He pulled out his phone and opened the school chat group. Messages flooded in, going viral. Yuan Luoyi leaned in to read as well. Breaking news! The Elephant Bone Society is sending a new PE teacher, a retired soldier who's commanded many classic battles. The Elephant Bone Society is putting pressure. The principal said all PE classes will resume this week. The production crew is coming tomorrow to film the first-year PE class. Big event, excitement guaranteed. Our school's PE program just got a major upgrade. Yuan Luoyi nodded. It was indeed good news. Tomorrow's event could help boost her influence. Yuhua left the chat group, sighing. The Elephant Bone Society is really powerful. With a single move, the whole school changes. No wonder the teachers are afraid of them. I heard your brother is a member, is that true? Yuan Luoyi nodded. Yeah, all 5 of them are. Yuhua took a deep breath. The Yuan family is truly outstanding. Though her own family has celebrities, they also have black sheep. A group of people dressed in black left the teaching building with an intimidating presence, making others hesitant to approach. Yuan Yong was among them, walking silently like a nocturnal predator, both elegant and lazy. He glanced at Yuan Luoyi, tipped his hat slightly, bowed, and left. Yuan Luoyi immediately understood. This was the first gift. Yuhua noticed Yuan Yong and asked, "Why did that guy nod at us?" Yuan Luoyi answered, "That's my third brother, Yuan Yong." Admiration filled Yuhua's eyes. School was over, time to go home. Yuan Luoyi found the family car and was surprised to see her eldest brother, Yuan Luo, had come to pick her up. Yuan Luo was very busy. It wasn't easy for him to find time to pick up his sister. Yuan Luoyi asked, "Big brother, why did you come to get me today?" Yuan Luo said, "Yuan Fa said your nightmares have been bad lately and was a bit worried. Are you okay?" Yuan Luoyi replied, "I'm fine." Though she said that, she was actually a little scared to sleep. The fragments of memories from the 99th life brought benefits but also exposed her to many deaths. The feeling of death's grip on her throat terrified her. Looking at Yuan Luo, Yuan Luoyi remembered he was the only one in the family still in contact with their third brother. She asked, "Big brother, why doesn't third brother come home?" Yuan Luo stared at her, making her a little uncomfortable. Why the sudden question? Yuan Luoyi calmly said, "Just suddenly thought of it. Third brother was bloodthirsty, had even kidnapped her, and forbade anyone from approaching her. This was something she could never let big brother know, or he would be angry." Yuan Luo drummed his fingers on his knee, thinking deeply before saying, "Yuan Yong believes the Yuan family is evil and shouldn't exist, so he left." Yuan Luoyi asked, "Is the Yuan family really evil?" Yuan Luo said, "The world is gray, good and evil aren't so clear-cut." Yuan Luoyi felt like her brother answered, yet didn't. In summary, the feud between third brother and the Yuan family was deep. He probably wouldn't come back. She felt regretful. The car continued driving. Yuan Luoyi decided to use her free time to review the memory fragments. The real culprit might be hidden within. The memories unfolded. She was a young hunter, pulling the trigger. The gunshot echoed through the forest. A stag fell. The air was thick with gunpowder and blood. Suddenly, dizziness hit her. Yuan Luoyi swayed, pain overwhelming her. Beep. System warning, host, please rest as soon as possible. This is content segment 31 of 34. Please follow the logical flow below. Keep the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout intact. Return only the processed result. She was surprised. The system had never warned her like this before. Yuan Yao noticed her unusual reaction. "Are you okay?" Yuan Luoyi said, "Headache." Yuan Yao touched her forehead, no fever, but her complexion was poor and she looked listless. Worried, he pulled her into his arms. Yuan Luoyi looked up at her big brother. His shirt buttons were always fastened to the top, wrapped tightly, never wearing short sleeves or shorts even in hot weather. He never showed skin. Strangely, though, he felt cool in his embrace. Back home, Yuan Yao took out some honey, poured it into a cup with warm water, and stirred it. He scooped some with a wooden spoon and handed it to Yuan Luoyi. "Drink some honey water." As Yuan Luoyi drank, a flicker of joy flashed in Yuan Yao's eyes. The sweetness spread, and she felt a little better. Indeed, sweetness was the best painkiller. Yuan Yao took a damp towel and wiped the sweat from her forehead. He asked, "Feeling better?" Yuan Luoyi said, "Much fresher." Busy, Yuan Yao pulled up a chair and slowly peeled a red apple. Yuan Luoyi asked, "Big brother, do you like taking care of people?" Yuan Yao paused, glanced at her, then lowered his gaze. Shadows darkened his face, obscuring his expression as he continued peeling the apple. "No," Yuan Luoyi said, "but you look pretty happy." Yuan Yao replied, "Maybe it reminds me of when you were little. Back then, you were fragile, crying the instant I left, completely dependent on me. Now you've grown up and don't need me as much. Kids grow up so fast." He placed the peeled apple slices on a plate. "If you're hungry, eat some apples. Lots of vitamins, helps build strength." Yuan Luoyi speared a slice with her fork, sweet, crisp, juicy, and fragrant. She picked up another slice and offered it to Yuan Yao. "It's sweet. Big brother, try some." Yuan Yao leaned over and bit into it, swallowing. "Definitely sweet. Are you still dizzy?" "Much better," Yuan Luoyi said. "I'm heading to the office." "You rest at home," Yuan Yao said. Yuan Luoyi nodded, climbed into bed, and after tucking her in with a thin blanket, Yuan Yao left. She sighed softly, feeling a bit sad. Big brother was still hiding his dark side. Yuan Yao was a good brother, patient in taking care of her, but he was too addicted to the feeling of being needed by his little sister. Once, when Yuan Luoyi was feverish and bedridden, her big brother stood in the corner of the room, neither close nor far, like a shadow. At that time, she was afraid of him, trembling as she curled up, too scared to run away. When her mind blurred, someone pressed an ice towel to her forehead. She heard her big brother say, "I really wish you'd stay sick, so you'd always depend on me." That was one reason she had feared Yuan Yao. All 5 brothers had dark sides. Yuan Luoyi had seen them all. In her past life, she only knew fear, never seeing their care. After death, she regretted it. This life, she saw their gentler sides and resolved to accept their frightening parts as well. The next day, Yuan Luoyi woke up still dizzy, dreaming of a photo of her big brother Yuan Yao's death. He lay in a pool of blood, eyes shut tight, face pale. He had promised that if she were killed, he would seek revenge relentlessly until death reunited them. In the past life, Yuan Yao had kept that promise. The news said he had brutally tortured the 3 judges who sentenced her and countless others involved, his fury unquenchable. Though he killed many, he found no peace. Before dying, he was still on his quest for vengeance, but the real culprit escaped and killed him. Losing the core of the Yuan family, the 4 brothers erupted into conflict, each pursuing vengeance alone, ultimately leading to the Yuan family's ruin. Now that Yuan Luoyi had regained memories of her past life and was the only one aware, she had to increase her influence, activate the regression function, and uncover the true culprit. That afternoon, there was a chance the production team was filming the sports class. She decided to seize it. As usual, she arrived at Xinghan Middle School. After morning classes, she went to gym with Yuhua in the afternoon. All the first-year students showed up, buzzing with excitement. The new PE teacher was a tough soldier who brought 2 boxes of guns and announced, "Running laps all day has driven you crazy. Want to strengthen your body and soul? Nothing beats real combat. Today we're playing Battle Royale, fight to the death. Only one will remain." Yuan Luoyi had no choice but to pick a gun and join the half-hour battle. The guns were actually paintball guns. Getting hit felt like a punch, painful but not harmful. The soldiers picked students one-on-one to teach them shooting skills. Everyone was serious. Su-sun remained popular and was immediately chosen by a senior soldier. The two chatted happily, and she learned quickly. Boys and girls surrounded Su-sun, showering her with compliments. "Wow, Su-sun, your gun stance is perfect. Amazing. Handsome and beautiful." Su-sun modestly said, "Not that perfect. You're all better than me." She secretly glanced at Yuan Luoyi, noticing she stood alone, with no one willing to teach her how to use the gun. Su-sun smiled brightly, pride shining in her eyes, and extended her hand with a condescending air, like a superior offering mercy. "Need some help?" Yuan Luoyi ignored her and fiddled with her gun herself. It was fine if no one taught her. After all, she was a hunter in her past life. "Humph." Su-sun rolled her eyes and turned away, flashing her sweet, gentle smile at others. Just then, someone approached Yuan Luoyi. Looking up, she saw it was her third brother, Yuan Yong. Yuan Luoyi's eyes widened in surprise. Third. Shoo. Yuan Yong quickly leaned close to her ear, his movements agile and cat-like. He whispered, "Just pretend you don't know me." Yuan Luoyi asked, "Then what should I call you?" "Instructor." "All right, instructor, why are you here?" "Your new PE teacher is a friend of mine. I came to help out and to check on you. I told them not to teach you so I could be your instructor." Yuan Luoyi suddenly understood why the soldiers always avoided her. Yuan Yong picked up her gun and carefully examined the barrel. "Good choice. The balance is right, perfect for you." Relying on her hunter's instincts from her previous life, Yuan Luoyi chose a gun with a stable center of gravity. Otherwise, a shaky hand would throw off her aim. Yuan Yong handed the gun back to her. "Show me a shooting stance." Yuan Luoyi sat down, cradled the gun, and took aim. She was still young and couldn't steady the recoil standing up. Sitting down and using her body weight to stabilize the gun was the best strategy. Yuan Yong smiled. "Such a smart approach, did someone teach you that?" Yuan Luoyi shook her head. "No one." Yuan Yong adjusted her posture, sometimes guiding her hands, sometimes patting her back, helping her form the perfect stance. "On the battlefield, an 11-year-old sniper can take down many targets. You have talent." He chuckled deeply, his voice smooth and rich. "Remember when I taught you how to kill rabbits?" How could Yuan Luoyi forget? At 6, she was terrified and huddled close, hoping adults would save her. Yuan Yong said, "Quick kills are mercy to your prey. Don't hesitate, trust your instincts. Try it once, you'll understand." He pressed her shoulder. "Deep breath, aim, focus, and pull the trigger when you can't hear anything else." Yuan Luoyi followed his instructions. The sounds around her faded, all she saw was herself, the gun, and the target. Bang! She pulled the trigger. The gun vibrated and emitted a warm blast. A paintball struck the target 100 meters away, bursting into a cloud of red smoke. Yuan Yong's eyes shone with admiration. "Excellent." He extended his hand politely. "You and I are born hunters. The other students are just your prey, they can't compare. Lessons over. Take a break." Yuan Luoyi grasped his hand and stood up, glancing around. The other students were practicing shooting, but very few could hit their targets. A group of people carrying equipment approached, sweating profusely. Director Zhang led the way, waving a fan and panting. The students instantly got excited. The film crew had finally arrived. Many girls had washed their hair for today's shoot, and the boys wore invisible height insoles. The crew found the perfect angle and set up the cameras. The students casually walked through the frame, showing themselves off unaware the cameras weren't even rolling yet, as Director Zhang was busy hunting for power strips. Yuan Yong sighed regretfully. "I have to leave now." Yuan Luoyi asked, "Where to?" "Somewhere the cameras can't see." "Don't worry, I'll be watching you." One hand behind his back, the other tossing his hat in a graceful arc, he bowed with noble elegance. "Wishing you success." With that, he put on his hat and left. Yuan Luoyi stared after him. On the surface, Yuan Yong seemed nearly perfect, refined and elegant. But she knew his true nature was fierce and bloodthirsty. When his dark side erupted, he was a completely different person. Ding ding ding. The PE teacher blew the whistle, and the students gathered around. Yuan Luoyi also picked up her gun and headed to the playground. The cameras finally powered on. The battle royale was about to begin. The students on the field were excited and noisy. Yuan Luoyi remained calm, like an experienced hunter, scanning the terrain carefully. To win the battle royale, you had to use everything at your disposal, especially the natural environment. Her steady gaze caught Director Zhang's attention, who aimed the camera at her. But just seconds into filming, the PE teacher stepped forward and blocked the shot. The teacher announced loudly, "This battle royale will be divided into teams by class." As soon as the words fell, all eyes turned to Yuan Luoyi and Yuhua, filled with hostility. Yuan Luoyi blinked. Oh! Other classes had over 30 students, but Class D only had 2, a massive disparity, like the Great Rift Valley in East Africa. Yuhua held his head, wailing, "Teacher, this is so unfair. How are the two of us supposed to fight 30-plus students from other classes?" The PE teacher said, "The world isn't fair. Having many people has drawbacks, and having few also has advantages. You have 3 minutes to devise a strategy. When time's up, the game officially starts." "Got it?" The students responded in unison, "Got it." Class students were especially excited, particularly the Sports and Arts Committee member, Su Sun. She gathered quite a few boys and girls who supported her, taunting Yuan Luoyi with a provocative smile. Sin Junxian stood beside Su Sun, seemingly deciding to team up against Yuan Luoyi. Students from classes B and C also gathered to discuss tactics, frequently glancing at Yuan Luoyi and Yuhua with murderous looks, as if the two were lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Yuan Luoyi felt the atmosphere was very familiar. After thinking for a moment, she suddenly realized this was what it felt like to be collectively isolated. But she didn't care. She didn't need their approval, she just wanted to use her gun to defeat them and claim first place. Yuhua sighed, they all want to take us out first. It's not 2 against 30 anymore, it's 2 against 100. What should we do? Yuan Luoyi said, huh? Isn't it just me against 100? Yuhua replied, I'm your classmate. I'll never let you fight alone. I won't be a deserter. Yuan Luoyi teased, but you always trip when you run, and your P grades have never passed. Yuhua blushed, brute force can't solve every problem. Strategy is my strength. I have a clever plan. Want to hear it? Yuan Luoyi leaned in, tell me. The two kids whispered their plot quietly, as the camera closely followed their conversation and the live chat began to flood with comments. What are those two talking about? Director, please give them a microphone, I want to listen. Count me in. But Class D only has 2 people, their chances aren't great. Class A will definitely win. Their students look stronger. The live viewership kept rising, pleasing Director Zhang greatly. Yuan Luoyi, a child of the Yuan family, was both beautiful and mysterious. She had twice made headlines due to school bullying incidents and was already a hot topic. Many viewers tuned in just for her, so win or lose, she would get more camera time. Under a distant tree, Yuan Yong's gaze fixed on Yuan Luoyi. The situation seemed unfavorable for his sister, but he believed she would win. Yuan Luoyi fired a shot right into the bullseye, while the other students couldn't even hit the target. This not only proved her shooting skills but also demonstrated her calmness and intelligence. Thinking this, Yuan Yong smiled faintly. The rest of the Yuan family opposed him teaching Yuan Luoyi lethal skills, saying, she doesn't want to kill rabbits. What are you doing? She's only 6 years old, you're scaring her. This isn't protection, it's imprisonment. As a result, Yuan Yong was forbidden from approaching Yuan Luoyi. He felt bitter, since all 5 of them were abnormal, but he alone was not allowed near his sister. He often worried she would forget him, but now it seemed Yuan Luoyi not only remembered him but also learned some of what he had taught her, which comforted him greatly. Look at how beautifully she holds the gun. 3 minutes were up. Bang! The PE teacher fired a shot into the air and shouted, the battle royale officially begins. The students immediately raised their guns, surrounding Yuan Luoyi and Yuhua in unison. Yuhua threw out a smoke grenade. After the loud explosion, smoke filled the air, obscuring vision. The students fired wildly and emptied their magazines, engaging in chaotic combat. Stop shooting. You're going to hit your own people. Class leader, I'm loyal to you. Why did you headshot me? Sorry, I didn't see clearly. Where did that Class D guy get a smoke grenade? So sneaky. Everyone's still alive, keep fighting. The 3 classes descended into chaos, gunfire nonstop, more and more students falling. As the smoke cleared, classes B and C were completely wiped out. The survivors lay on the ground, covered head to toe in colorful paint, panting heavily, looking both ridiculous and pitiful. Su Sun survived, surrounded by students who liked her acting as a shield, with only 3 boys protecting her. Sen Junxian was also alive, with many girls taking bullets for him. Yuhua was down, his face smeared with red paint. He had intended to use the smoke grenade to create confusion and escape, but his poor athleticism meant he was shot after only a few steps. Fortunately, Yuan Luoyi escaped, so Class D still had hope. The survivors noticed Yuan Luoyi was missing. A boy walked over to Yuhua and shouted, where's Yuan Luoyi? Yuhua didn't answer. The boy got angry and pointed his gun at him, tell me now, or I'll shoot you. Lying on the ground, Yuhua shrugged helplessly. I'm already dead. How many times do you want to kill me? The boy awkwardly lowered his gun, pretending nothing happened, but the cameras recorded everything. Now the kid's darkest moments were all in high definition. Su Sun was much calmer, inwardly annoyed by the foolish boy but outwardly gentle. Let's find Yuan Luoyi ourselves. The boys nodded and began searching everywhere. The area was littered with the living dead, glaring resentfully at the survivors. Beneath the school's greenery bushes, Yuan Luoyi carefully adjusted her gun. Firing now would reveal her position. She decided to wait until they had thinned each other out before making a move. She was the battlefield's scavenger queen, relaxed and happy, ready to win effortlessly. Suddenly, a gaze landed on her. Yuan Luoyi looked up and saw Su Sun squinting at her. Ah, girls really are more attentive. She's been spotted, we have to take her out. Su Sun shouted, she's over there. Yuan Luoyi pulled the trigger, the black muzzle aimed right at Su Sun. Bang! The gunshot rang out, paint splattering everywhere. Su Sun's face was covered in colorful spots, her hair dyed white, looking just like a mouse that had fallen into a pile of flour. But the one who fired the shot wasn't Yuan Luoyi, it was Sun Junxian. He stood coldly beside Su Sun, holding a gun. A close-range gunshot to the body hurts a lot. Yuan Luoyi was surprised that Su Sun didn't cry and still kept her ladylike composure, truly dedicated. Su Sun didn't expect Sun Junxian to betray her suddenly and shouted angrily, "You." Sun Junxian replied coldly, "You're already dead. You can't speak." Su Sun clenched her teeth, nearly grinding them to pieces in anger. Director Zhang wouldn't miss this dramatic betrayal. The camera focused on a disheveled Su Sun and even gave her a close-up. Su Sun desperately suppressed her emotions. Losing the game just meant fewer fans, but her ladylike image was shattered. Everything was over. The three guys protecting Su Sun froze for a few seconds, then immediately wanted revenge. "Sun Junxian! You bastard!" Sun Junxian fired at them but missed. The three fired back. Paintballs flew wildly through the air, hitting walls, trees, and even the gym teacher's chest, but couldn't hit each other. They shot at each other like rookies for a while, then gave up the gunfight and started wrestling, using their guns as clubs to bash wildly. The gym teacher's face remained unchanged, but he felt sorry for his weapon being treated so badly. Yuan Luoyi lay in the bushes, watching the chaotic fight coldly. Soon, Sun Junxian's gun was knocked away, and two of the guys grabbed him. Another guy raised his gun, aiming at Sun Junxian. "Prepare to die." But unexpectedly, he was the first to be shot. Yuan Luoyi pulled the trigger first. Black paint exploded on his chest. He staggered back, a dazed look on his face. "Am I dead?" Bang! Bang! 100 meters away, Yuan Luoyi fired 2 consecutive shots, hitting the other 2 in the chest like a silent reaper. They stood frozen, covered in black paint. The live comments exploded. "Wow! That was Yuan Luoyi shooting. Dead-on accuracy. Where is she? Oh my god, this little girl is both cute and cool." The gun's recoil still hit Yuan Luoyi hard, her hand tingled. She climbed out of the bushes, brushed off the fallen leaves, and walked slowly forward. The camera immediately focused on her. Director Zhang looked like he wanted to get closer to film. Now, only Yuan Luoyi and Sun Junxian remained on the playground. He lay on the ground, exhausted and powerless to resist. Yuan Luoyi was ready to end the fight. Everyone watched her silently, their eyes following her every move, deeply impressed. Especially the students in Class A, they seemed to truly see Yuan Luoyi for the first time today. In the past, she was quiet and often walked alone. Now she was still solitary, but carried the presence of an entire army. She had completely changed, more carefree, more charismatic. She walked up to Sun Junxian and pointed her black gun at his chest. Sun Junxian looked at Yuan Luoyi. "I killed Su Sun just now to protect you. If she exposed your hiding place, you'd be in trouble." Yuan Luoyi remained silent. Sun Junxian suddenly realized their last close contact had been a week ago, and their relationship had completely drifted apart. He felt powerless. Some long-buried memories surfaced. He remembered when they first met. It was Yuan Luoyi who saved him when he was about to break down. They depended on each other. In elementary school, Sun Junxian's home was always noisy. His mother would lose her temper, hair disheveled, crying and cursing. When too emotional to speak Chinese clearly, she cursed in Norwegian. She was beautiful, dancing gracefully on stage, her blonde hair shining and her aqua blue eyes dazzling, but she couldn't stop her husband from keeping a mistress. Sun Junxian knew that woman. She wasn't as beautiful as his mother, tacky and foolish, sweetly acting coquettish, begging Sun's father to buy her a Maserati. When she met Sun Junxian, she pretended to be gentle, hypocritically praising him as if preparing to be his stepmother. How naive. How could Sun's father ever marry her? Sun's father wanted a beautiful wife for appearances and young women to satisfy his cravings. She was just one of many women, with no chance of becoming part of the family. At first, Sun Junxian was disgusted and wanted to tell his mother the truth. But Sun's father said, "Son, a perfect marriage doesn't exist. Your mother is proud. I can tolerate and spoil her because I shift the pressure onto other women. Every man lies. Bad men get exposed, good men keep their lies going. Help me keep the lies going." So, Sun Junxian fell silent and gradually realized his father was right. Living a lie made his mother happy. She and her friends partied every night, proudly introducing her husband and son. Sun's father was not a good man. He spent a reckless night with that woman in their newly purchased Maserati, oblivious to the fact that Sun's mother had suddenly returned and was standing outside the car window. This family, built on lies, was collapsing. Arguments erupted constantly. Sun Junxian's emotions unraveled. He knew he was sick, but also knew he was the least ill in the family. Yuan Luoyi noticed him and sat beside him, genuinely concerned. She asked, "Are you hurt?" Sin Junxian replied, "It's none of your business. You look like you're in pain." "I don't feel any pain. Mind your own business and go away." Sin Junxian suddenly lost his temper, startling Yuan Luoyi. But she didn't leave. Instead, she pulled out a handkerchief and, trembling, tied it around his wrist. She said, "This will make it stop hurting." In truth, the handkerchief rubbing against the wound made Sin Junxian's pain worse. He should have ripped it off and yelled at her for being foolish, but he didn't, because he was busy using his arm to cover his eyes, pretending not to cry. What a loss of face, being brought to tears by a girl from his own class. Still, with Yuan Luoyi around, Sin Junxian's life had a little more joy. She began following him everywhere. Sometimes, he was annoyed by her, her concern made him uncomfortable, and the coldness at home became even harder to bear. But more often, he desperately needed her. He acted proud, walking ahead, but deliberately slowed down, hoping she would catch up faster. Over time, he took her efforts for granted, often losing his temper and blaming her for not being good enough. Watching her try so hard to make him happy gave him a twisted sense of relief. He realized he was becoming like his father. As his features matured, he became the school heartthrob, spinning lies without concern for Yuan Luoyi's feelings, easily accepting the affections of other girls. He lost control and turned into the person he hated most. His father's influence had never truly left him. He began to pity Yuan Luoyi. "You're really unlucky to have met a scumbag like me." But he benefited from this change. He could coexist peacefully with his parents and no longer felt pain. The reasoning was simple: become a demon, and demons won't hurt you. After isolating Yuan Luoyi in Class A, Sin Junxian grew arrogant and reckless. This girl desperately needed him now. Unexpectedly, Yuan Luoyi changed. She stopped looking at him. Maybe he'd gone too far. He once shoved her down in front of everyone who cared about him, watching her fall to the ground. That was the first time he saw Yuan Luoyi cry, and he finally realized. The girl who kept asking if he was in pain was herself hurting deeply. Things spiraled out of control. He was unfriended, and all his previous schemes to bully Yuan Luoyi became useless. He saw her laughing happily with that jerk Yuhua, and jealousy kept him awake all night. Now, he was determined to bring Yuan Luoyi back. On the Xinghan Middle School playground, Sin Junxian lay on the grass as Yuan Luoyi stood beside him, a gun pointed straight at his chest. Taking a deep breath, Sin Junxian said, "There are things I should have said long ago. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have pushed you that day. People only lie to those who truly believe in them and only hurt those who care about them. I was foolish and didn't cherish you. Please forgive me." Yuan Luoyi looked down at him and sighed. Back in elementary school, she wanted to help the troubled Sin Junxian, but her constant giving only made him worse. Growing up, she truly liked him, but the wounds grew deeper. Sin Junxian had completely become a scumbag. Now, she flipped the script with reverse PUA tactics. After just a few days, he started reflecting. People can't always be kind. Yuan Luoyi said, "Congrats, you've gotten a little better." Hope flickered in Sin Junxian's eyes. "Will you forgive me?" Bang! Yuan Luoyi pulled the trigger, a paintball hit his chest, and he gasped in pain. She lowered the gun. No forgiveness. She walked over to the PE teacher. "Teacher, I took them all out." The PE teacher laughed heartily. Just as expected from Yuan Yon's little sister. "At first, I thought her round face looked delicate, but she's decisive and smart. Most importantly, she didn't treat the gun like a weapon to hurt others." A gold medal engraved with tiger stripes was hung around her neck as the teacher announced, "The champion of this battle royale, Class D's Yuan Luoyi." The camera focused on her, and the live chat exploded instantly. 666. Amazing. Outnumbered but victorious. From now on, I'm a fan. Even adults might not beat her. Tactical and composed, the pride of Xinghan Middle School. Critical hit damage 100%. Such a cute little girl, love her. The final shot got me, I'm a fan now. The reaction from Xinghan students was cooler than the chat. Su Sun from the same group looked gloomy. Sin Junxian was still writhing in pain, unable to get up, while the others were all stained black with paint. Several students were drawn to Yuan Luoyi, their eyes shining. They wanted to applaud but feared being seen by their classmates, so they quietly rejoiced to themselves. Many students in Class C were conflicted. They knew she was a descendant of the Yuan family, the reason Mame got expelled, yet they couldn't help but admire her. Yuan Luoyi paid no attention to their opinions and focused intently on the system's prompt. Ding! Host's influence has reached 60, activating the recall program. This was what she wanted most, finally, a chance to find the real culprit. She put the gun back into the box. Teacher, can I leave now? The gym teacher said, sure, you're the only winner. Do whatever you want. Yuan Luoyi replied, thank you, teacher. She ran toward her third brother, Yuan Yong, who opened his arms with a welcoming smile. Yuan Luoyi leapt into his embrace, surprised to find it cold. The Yuan family were like snakes, emotionally distant, their skin cool to the touch. She was the only warm-blooded creature in the family. The venomous snakes all wanted to absorb her warmth. Yuan Yong said, you won the battle royale brilliantly. You hid when at a disadvantage and struck decisively when you had the upper hand. How was handling the gun? Yuan Luoyi said, my grip was too strong, my hand went numb. Yuan Yong chuckled lowly and leaned in, his shadow falling over her like a thin veil. I'm not talking about physical feelings but psychological ones. When I fired my first shot to kill an enemy, my heart raced with excitement. But I immediately regretted it. I should have used a knife instead of a gun. A knife is more primitive, more brutal, and feels more real. I'll teach you to use a knife someday. You'll love it. Yuan Luoyi looked at Yuan Yong. Handsome, with a teardrop mole at the corner of his eye that gave him a somewhat androgynous look, his voice was pleasant, but his words were filled with violence and bloodlust. He was born a killer and wanted to mold Yuan Luoyi into someone like himself. If she truly belonged to the Yuan family, she might be willing to learn from him. But she did not. Yuan Luoyi asked, if I refuse to learn, will you force me? Yuan Yong smiled. Dear sister, don't worry. I won't force you. Growing up takes time. You might not like it now, but you will later. Yuan Luoyi raised an eyebrow. So, you mean that when I grow up, you'll definitely try to lure me in? Yuan Yong smiled meaningfully. Without a doubt, he would. His obsession was intense, maybe because his heartbeat changed with her cries, maybe because he didn't want her to stay with those 4 lunatics, or maybe he was tired of loneliness and craved her company. In any case, he didn't understand complex human emotions or know how much humanity he had left. But he knew he had to take her away from the evil Yuan family. Those venomous snakes would hurt her sooner or later, and he would never let that happen. As her brother, he had a sacred mission to protect his sister. Yuan Yong said, you got your first gift. What do you want for your second? Yuan Luoyi said, I want to eat pizza. Yuan Yong looked puzzled. Pizza? Yuan Luoyi nodded. I'm hungry after exercising. Let's go to the cafeteria. Their pizza is really good. Yuan Yong chuckled softly. The little girl's wish was so pure and sweet. She didn't yet know that if she wanted someone's head, he could get that for her too. Then let's go to the cafeteria. They left the playground, and other students cast envious glances their way. Those who lost the game had to run 3 laps around the field, except for Yuhua, who sat in the shade of a tree, gleefully watching everyone gasp for breath. At the cafeteria, Yuan Luoyi noticed many upperclassmen stealing glances at her while lining up for food. That's the little princess of the Yuan family. Her looks are amazing, she's even cuter in person than on TV. Did you see the latest trending news? An 11-year-old girl with deadly accuracy killed 4 people. She's smart and powerful. That was when Yuan Luoyi realized she was trending online. Her influence score suddenly shot up to 60. She had to rely on that now. She found a spacious seat and sat down while Yuan Yong went to buy pizza. Suddenly, her second brother, Yuan Fa, appeared from the crowd, blocking Yuan Yong with a fierce presence. Yuan Luoyi felt a chill and turned to see her eldest brother, Yuan Hao, sitting beside her with a mysterious smile. Her body stiffened. Her eldest brother had already warned her not to have contact with her third brother. This was bad, caught red-handed. How could she explain? She looked at Yuan Hao's expression. His smile was enigmatic and unreadable, making her uneasy. Yuan Fa was seething with anger, his towering presence oppressive. Third brother, long time no see. I heard you killed quite a few people on the battlefield. I'm genuinely glad for you. But do you remember what we said last time we met? Yuan Yong remained calm, dripping with sarcasm. You mean that if I come near our sister again, you'll personally send me to hell? Yuan Fa flashed a shark-like grin. Exactly. Have you prepared your will? Since we're family, I might help you make sure it takes effect by tomorrow. Yuan Yong pressed his hat brim down with one hand, his face shadowed, cold light flashing in his eyes. Who kills whom isn't decided yet? I'm not 15 anymore. Yuan Fa made 2 circles in the air with his hands, then spread them out exaggeratedly, shaking his head helplessly. You still don't respect Big Brother at all. Maybe Big Brother needs to teach you how to speak again. Their gazes shifted to Big Brother Yuan Huang. The final say on all Yuan family matters rested with him. Even though Yuan Yong hadn't been home for years, he still had to listen because the Yuans had influence in both business and military circles. Yuan Huang tapped his fingers rhythmically on the table, head bowed in thought. After a moment, he placed his hand on Yuan Luoyi's shoulder, startling her. I told you not to get involved with Yuan Yong, he said. Why are you still doing it? As the eldest son, Yuan Huang had always been controlling. Yuan Luoyi used to never dare to defy him. But now, she thought Big Brother was actually quite gentle, so it should be fine. She looked at Yuan Huang with innocent, clear eyes. Third brother hasn't been home for a long time. He's lonely. I just want to keep him company. As it turned out, she was right. Yuan Huang's expression softened immediately as he ruffled her hair. The brothers have important matters to discuss. Go play the claw machine in the cafeteria. There are really cute plush toys, you might like them. Yuan Luoyi understood his meaning. The brothers' talks were always aggressive, they didn't want her to see the darker side. She ran off. Yuan Huang hadn't lied, the cafeteria really had a claw machine with adorable plush toys. She put in $2. The machine played a cheerful tune, and she focused intently on grabbing a toy. After 10 coins, still no catch, the mechanical claw trembled at the last moment, and the plush fell. Capitalists shamelessly fleecing students. She gave up. Remembering that second brother Yuan Fa was a gaming expert and might help with the claw machine, she thought about asking him. But their conversation wasn't over yet, so she decided to go buy pizza first. A few steps later, she saw former homeroom teacher Mr. Su, frowning, standing in the smoking area, exhaling smoke. Under third brother Yuan Yong's manipulation, the PE teacher had gone to jail. Mr. Su had provided evidence, earning a pardon through cooperation. Normally, she thought the PE teacher was just a distraction. In tough times, she sought his usefulness. But the Xiang family and the Yuans wouldn't let him off. Mr. Su was so anxious he smoked a pack a day. Almost at the same time, Mr. Su noticed Yuan Luoyi and instinctively tried to stub out his cigarette but took another drag and coldly stared at her. He gave a fake smile. Yuan Luoyi, getting used to Class D? If not, the teacher can help. Yuan Luoyi said, Mr. Su, can you come a little closer? Mr. Su snorted coldly, thinking she wanted a hug. Ridiculous. They hated each other, but hadn't openly clashed yet. High heels clicked, Mr. Su stepped closer. Anything else? Yuan Luoyi said, a bit closer. He took another puff, flicked the ash, trying to see what she wanted. Ding-ling-ling. Yuan Luoyi pressed the alarm. Security rushed over. What's wrong? She pointed at Mr. Su. He's smoking in a non-smoking area, seriously endangering students' health. Mr. Su suddenly realized he was outside the smoking zone. He didn't expect Yuan Luoyi to mock a teacher now. Before, when he sneered at her, the little girl only bowed her head silently. The security guard glared sternly at Mr. Su. Sir, how can you expose students to secondhand smoke? You're fined $1,000. Mr. Su stubbed out his cigarette and angrily pulled out a wad of cash from his Hermes bag, counting it carefully before handing it over. He sneered at Yuan Luoyi. You've changed a lot smarter now. Clicking his heels, he stormed off. Yuan Luoyi felt pleased seeing Mr. Su take a hit. He always looked down on her, but now she knew she could make him uncomfortable too. Second brother Yuan Fa walked over, having witnessed everything. He smiled at Yuan Luoyi. Not bad, Yuan family kids really are different. But still room for improvement. He snatched the money from the security guard's hand and quickly counted it. The guard exclaimed, What are you doing? Yuan Fa said, The school's maximum fine is $50. You took $1,000, that's illegal. Guess who made that rule? The principal, of course. Time to have a serious talk with him. Lucky for me, he just made me some money. The guard had no response, afraid to argue. Yuan Fa handed the money to Yuan Luoyi. You earned this. I'm not taking it. Do better next time. He grinned mischievously. The principal's big money is mine to shake down. That $1,000 became Yuan Luoyi's pocket money. She happily stuffed it into her backpack and asked, Second brother, did you settle it? Yuan Fa said, Yeah, he left. Yuan Luoyi asked, So I won't see third brother anymore? Yuan Fa ruffled her hair. With me as your good big brother, don't be greedy. Let him go, he's too dangerous for you. Her eyes turned cold. Do you remember when you were 6? He took you away, and when I found you in the forest, you were crying loudly. Big brother spoils you, I don't. Next time you see third brother, I'll be really angry beyond calming down. Understand? Yuan Luoyi nodded. She only agreed that third brother was dangerous but didn't believe second brother's anger couldn't be calmed. Among the 5 Yuan brothers, second and third brother had the worst relationship, they fought whenever they met. She decided to avoid Yuan Fa next time she saw Yuan Yong. The second gift from third brother, eat pizza, was still unfinished. he would definitely come looking for her, no matter how hard it was. With that problem solved, Yuan Fa went to the principal to ask for money, and Yuan Luoyi was taken home by big brother Yuan Long. In the car, Yuan Long sat beside her, quiet, mysterious, hard to read. Yuan Luoyi was sure Yuan Long had the power to cover everything, able to notice her being isolated at school and sense third brother sneaking around. But she couldn't understand how such a formidable big brother could end up dead at the hands of a murderer. Through gym class, she activated the regression. Maybe tonight she could find the answer. Back home, she headed straight to her room, dropped her backpack, sat on the bed, and shouted, "System, activate regression." Beep. System message, regression activated. A familiar dizziness hit her, and Yuan Luoyi's body went limp and collapsed. Her vision shifted rapidly as she felt a strange falling sensation, reaching out to touch a hard wall. Where was she? Yuan Luoyi's eyes slowly adjusted to the darkness, finding herself alone in a long corridor. Moonlight streamed through the windows outside. The vintage patterns on the walls made her realize this was the Yuan family corridor. Then she detected a metallic scent, blood, and there were droplets on the floor. She followed the trail. The blood grew heavier and the smell stronger until she reached her mother's bedroom door. The door was ajar, the doorknob stained with blood. With a creak, Yuan Luoyi gently pushed the door open and saw her mother collapsed in a pool of blood, losing consciousness from severe bleeding. Yet her mother recognized her, a tear slipping from the corner of her eye. "Baby, run." Suddenly, a cold laugh came from behind her. Yuan Luoyi felt a gun pressed against the back of her head. Bang! Beep! System message, regression ended. In a bright room, Yuan Luoyi suddenly sat up, gasping for air as if she had just surfaced from drowning. She touched the back of her head, no bullet wound. The killer from just now was standing right behind her, and it was a girl. Although this regression was perilous, she gained a lot. That cold laugh was familiar, but she couldn't remember who it belonged to. Maybe if she checked the corridor again, more memories would surface. She jumped out of bed, pushed open the door, and hurried to the corridor of the Yuan residence. The wallpaper, windows, and silver moonlight were just like before, but no bloodstains on the floor. Walking slowly, she tried hard to recall. I've heard that voice before. Remember it. Remember. Who is she? Step by step, she reached her mother's bedroom door. Her mother was a spy assassin. It was hard for an ordinary person to kill her. How did the killer succeed? Yuan Luoyi placed her hand on the cold doorknob. This place would soon be soaked with blood. Inside, her mother lay gravely wounded, blood pouring out. More details came back. Her mother was holding her phone, the screen flashing as she tried calling father, but he didn't answer. The calendar on the table showed June 27th. A sharp pain struck her temple. Yuan Luoyi furrowed her brows as fragments of past memories flooded in. She recalled that day when she was exposed as the fake daughter. Father's gaze was cold as he threw down his suitcase and ordered her to leave immediately. That night, she dragged her suitcase alone toward the subway station. People just off work were tiredly rushing home, boarding the last train. Yuan Luoyi envied them for having a home to return to. She had lost everything. The love she received was a lie, drained and wandering, with no place to call home. Suddenly, the subway's big screen flickered and displayed a wanted poster. At first, she didn't pay attention, looking down to check the subway route. But as people around her started whispering and pointing, she realized something was wrong. Looking up, she saw the poster's photo was her own, with the words, "Class A wanted criminal, extremely dangerous, suspected of matricide." The memory fragments ended. 11-year-old Yuan Luoyi finally pieced together the truth. That day, after she was kicked out, her mother was murdered, and she was the scapegoat. Before her brothers returned to the country, she had already been executed. The trial was incredibly fast, as if someone deliberately wanted her dead without a chance for rescue. Behind the string of deaths in the Yuan family, it seemed an invisible hand was pulling the strings, causing everyone to die tragically. At this moment, 11-year-old Yuan Luoyi looked out the window. The lonely moon hung high, and insects chirped. She thought the first regression only lasted a few minutes, but it had actually been hours. This time was the same, returning home in the afternoon. Now it was already late at night. The rewind function was strange. Yuan Luoyi used to think she was watching fragments of future memories, but this time it felt like she was personally traveling into the future. She could talk to her mother, and the killer could hurt her. The sensation of a gun pressed against the back of her head was incredibly real. She was certain she was going to be shot. The system also had a wish feature. Suddenly, Yuan Luoyi wondered if she could wish to save everyone. Ding! System prompt: when influence reaches a certain level, the host can wish to save everyone. The mechanical female voice startled her, reminding her she could ask the system these questions directly. She asked, "How much influence do I need?" System, influence activates the wish function at 100 points. Yuan Luoyi was thrilled. She currently had 60 influence points, just a few more variety show appearances and she'd reach it. She asked again, "Can I wish to see who the real killer is?" System, host level too low. No permission to decrypt this information. How high do I have to level up to decrypt it? System, host level too low. No permission to decrypt this information. What exactly is the rewind function? System, host level too low. No permission to decrypt this information. Yuan Luoyi hated hearing that phrase. The system could help her in many ways but also hid many mysteries, refusing to answer. Strangely, she could wish to save everyone once her influence was high enough, but couldn't see the true killer. If she wanted to find the real killer, she had to keep using the rewind function, but a chill ran through her. Who would she see next time she rewound? What would happen? Would she get hurt? There was no way to know. Remembering her past life, she had once given up struggling and fled the painful school life. But now, she had to muster courage to face the dark future, find the real killer. Only she could save the Yuan family. Footsteps grew closer. Yuan Luoyi tensed and looked back, seeing her eldest brother, Yuan Luo. He came up beside her. "What are you doing here?" Yuan Luoyi replied, "I missed Mom." Yuan Luo said, "Mother's coming back tomorrow morning." "How did you know I was here?" she asked. He pointed to a security camera in the corner of the ceiling. The security system detected unusual behavior. Yuan Luoyi frowned. Although the Yuan estate was an old mansion, its facilities were modern. How could the killer dare come in so boldly to kill? As she pondered, Yuan Luo reached out and hugged her. He said, "So young and already worried like this. What's wrong?" Yuan Luoyi shook her head. The system forbade her from talking about related matters. She'd be rendered speechless. Yuan Luo sighed, sensing she was still afraid of him and couldn't open up. He switched tactics, pulling out some food. "The maid said you didn't eat dinner. I got you some late-night snacks, all your favorites. Want some?" At the mention of snacks, Yuan Luoyi brightened. "Yes, thanks, big brother." Her mind had been tense, focused on the killer, but being near her brother made her feel safe and relaxed. Suddenly, she was hungry. Seeing his sister happy, Yuan Luo's mood lifted a bit. To others, Yuan Luo was cold and ruthless, bringing only despair when faced with their pain and pleas. But with Yuan Luoyi, his emotions fluctuated intensely. Her suffering made him sad, made him feel like a normal person, and he didn't dislike that feeling. Holding Yuan Luoyi, he left the corridor. She glanced back. This was where the first death in the Yuan family happened. Everything started to collapse from here. But if Yuan Luo hadn't avenged Yuan Luoyi back then, he wouldn't have died, the Yuan family wouldn't have fallen, and the other 4 brothers wouldn't have died. Yuan Luoyi said, "Big brother, you're amazing and all-rounder. You've managed the Yuan family well these past few years." Yuan Luo chuckled lightly. "Suddenly praising me, is there something you want?" "Nothing, just saying. Big brother, what's your weakness?" His dark eyes fixed on her. "My only weakness is probably you." His soul was pitch black, yet in his heart, he reserved a pure white space just for Yuan Luoyi. He endured and masked himself, suppressing his brutality, all to protect his sister and let her grow up happily. More than anyone, he wanted to be a good brother. But it was destined that after Yuan Luoyi died, he wouldn't live long either. The next morning, Yuan Luoyi saw her mother, just returned from the tropics, her skin sun-kissed. She wore a bright necklace and beamed with a radiant smile. Her mother handed her a hand-woven necklace. "Sweetheart, a gift from Mom." Yuan Luoyi ignored the gift and hugged her mother tightly, burying her face as she tried to hold back tears. Thank goodness her mother was still alive. Though not her biological mother, she cared deeply and once helped Yuan Luoyi almost escape with her life. Her mother was surprised and happy. The little daughter was finally acting spoiled again. She sat down, letting Yuan Luoyi lean on her chest, cupping her face. "What's wrong? Did your brother bully you?" Yuan Luoyi said, "No, I just missed you." Her mother smiled. "You little sweet talker. Want anything? Mommy will buy it for you right away." Yuan Luoyi leaned softly against her mother's shoulder. "I just want Mommy." Her mother happily patted her back. "All right. No more long-term overseas work trips. I'll stay with you for a while." Yuan Luoyi indulged in her childish affection, but she truly missed her mother. Almost 7:30, she reluctantly got into the car to head to school. Along the way, she received bad news. Her 4th brother, Yuan Si, was going to Xinghan High School today. That lazy, narcissistic man had just returned from Paris. His fans were absolutely wild, and Yuan Luoyi feared them the most. Her phone's trending list was flooded with, "Super popular celebrity Yuan C is going to Xinghan High School." Comments overflowed with praise. His fans were famously fanatical, no one dared to criticize Yuan C. In real life, his fans wouldn't hesitate to throw punches. Yuan Luoyi had little contact with her fourth brother. He debuted at 14 and had been busy ever since, rarely coming home. Yuan C had a strange set of values. The family disliked socializing, but he loved it intensely. Like a chameleon, he read others' preferences and morphed into whatever they liked, manipulating their emotions. Sometimes he'd lift them up to the skies, other times he'd slam them down hard. Yuan Luoyi thought her brother was a shameless manipulator, regardless of gender. But he never fell in love after all, he loved only himself, a true narcissist. He once said, "Look how amusing they are, worshipping me with tears and devotion. As long as I'm gentle, they're as happy as if in heaven. That proves I'm their god." He wasn't kind at all. Yuan C knew how to charm and control people, satisfying his pathological need for control. After exiting the trending list, Yuan Luoyi checked her own main account. She already had over 600,000 followers, but her profile showed only one post. Why hasn't she posted anything new? Please update, I'm going through withdrawal. Director Zhang, please film more of Yuan Luoyi. I follow the show just for her. Yuan Luoyi sighed softly and logged out. She wasn't good at interacting with fans and even found their admiration somewhat troublesome. She knew very well that her fans liked only the version of her in their minds, not the real her. Pleasing fans was exhausting, and investigating the real culprit had already drained too much energy. For everything else, she just wanted to relax and go with the flow. The system was set up so that as long as she stayed relaxed, she would keep leveling up. Thinking of this, Yuan Luoyi suddenly became curious. What would happen if one day she stopped relaxing? Interesting question. Maybe she'd try it sometime. At school, Yuan Luoyi slung her backpack over her shoulder and headed toward Class D. Many students who had watched yesterday's survival-style PE class were amazed by her performance. As soon as she appeared, everyone stared curiously. That's her. It really is. I'm so lucky to run into her on the way to school. Should I say hi? Don't be silly, that's the Yuan family heiress. She took down the school heartthrob, Xin Junxian, with one shot. She could probably do the same to us, maybe even with a real gun. The students couldn't figure out her personality and dared not get close. They just watched from a distance, almost giving her strange, reverent stares. Near the cafeteria, a girl from Class C suddenly ran over, respectfully bowed to her, then turned and ran off, leaving Yuan Luoyi a bit stunned. Watching her retreating figure, Yuan Luoyi recalled that same girl had greeted her at the variety show's opening ceremony. What had she done to her? Probably nothing. She didn't even know the girl's name. Yuan Luoyi gave up thinking about it. Ever since she started relaxing, people's attitudes around her had been changing. It wasn't surprising that a few odd students now circled her. Especially after yesterday's PE class, the entire school had noticed she had changed. Standing by the door of Class D was a woman in a black suit and sunglasses, tall and imposing. She turned to Yuan Luoyi and said politely, "You must be Yuan Luoyi." Yuan Luoyi nodded. "Yes." The woman said, "I'm Mr. Yuan C's assistant. He asked me to take you to the lounge." Yuan Luoyi hesitated. "Can I not go?" The woman stepped closer, pleading, "Please, you have to go. I'm just an employee, and Mr. Yuan C likes to keep everything under control. If you don't go, he'll blame me." 10 minutes later, Yuan Luoyi stood gloomily in Yuan C's lounge. He was lying on the sofa, asleep. Hearing her arrive, he lazily sat up, tousled his messy hair, and yawned. He had beautiful, charming eyes that seemed affectionate but were actually icy cold. A faint smile played at his lips, misleading people into thinking he was friendly. Even those he hurt still believed he was kind. Looking at Yuan Luoyi, his eyes lit up with delight. He stepped forward, opened his arms, and hugged her tightly, ignoring her struggles completely. This was why Yuan Luoyi disliked his touch. He always treated her like a doll, hugging or squeezing her at will, with no sense of boundaries. Her brother's embrace was like a constricting python, cold and tight. Yuan Luoyi struggled for a long time but was too weak to break free. Only after his controlling urge was satisfied did she manage to escape, quickly stepping back to put some distance between them. She had to keep a safe distance next time. She didn't know how long he'd cling if caught again. Yuan C said, "Big brother said you're not so afraid of people anymore. Why are you still hiding from me?" Yuan Luoyi glared at him. "You've messed up all my hair." Yuan C chuckled lightly. "I just missed you so much. It's been almost a year since we last met. He stretched lazily, still groggy from just waking up, his hair messy, shirt half unbuttoned. With a slow movement, he pulled open his collar, revealing a defined collarbone. "You haven't had breakfast yet, right? I brought some pastries from Paris. Try them." He strolled over to the table, took out a carved glass cup, poured some black tea, then picked out small pastries from a gift box. His long fingers skillfully arranged the plates, quickly setting up a delicious spread. Yuan Si's presentation of the pastries was artistic, each piece arranged like a tempting oil painting. He reached out invitingly, but Yuan Luoyi didn't move. Back then, Yuan Si often held princess tea parties for Yuan Luoyi, preparing a table full of sweet treats. At that time, young Yuan Luoyi lacked judgment and was easily tempted, like Alice falling down the rabbit hole, drawn by the beautiful scene before her, step by step entering a dreamlike world. The price was that Yuan Si locked the door. At first, Yuan Luoyi happily ate the pastries. The cream was rich and sweet, everything to her liking. Later she realized she couldn't get out. Hugging her teddy bear tightly, she searched for an exit everywhere, finally sitting on the floor in despair, crying. Yuan Si quietly stood in the shadows, fascinated by his sister's reactions, memorizing every detail. To him, his emotionally rich sister was a magical creature, showing multiple emotions within minutes like a kaleidoscope, never dull. Now, Yuan Si had once again set a table of pastries, but Yuan Luoyi no longer trusted him. He seemed to sense his sister's doubt and made a welcoming gesture. "Come on, it's delicious," Yuan Luoyi said. "I'm not hungry." Yuan Si smiled with a hint of mischief, knowing she was lying. He moved closer to Yuan Luoyi, his figure powerful yet slender, his movements slow and flexible like a giant python, carrying an aggressive aura. Suddenly, he became quick, grabbing Yuan Luoyi and pulling her to the table, pressing her into a soft armchair. He said softly, "You've grown up, more cautious now. There are many deceivers outside. But don't worry, fourth brother won't hurt you. These are just desserts, not poisoned apples." He bit a piece of cake, revealing sharp teeth, swallowing it. "See? No poison. I'm not dead." Then he handed some to Yuan Luoyi. "Try it." Yuan Luoyi took a bite. The taste was special and pretty good. She looked at Yuan Si. "Fourth brother, what are you doing at school?" Yuan Si sat opposite her. "There's an event at Xinghan Middle School tomorrow. I'm a special guest. I'll be signing contracts with promising students, helping them enter the entertainment industry." He pulled out a contract. "You're doing great, easily attracting attention, not surprising you're my sister. Sign this contract, and I'll help you become more famous." Yuan Luoyi understood. The pastries weren't bait, the contract was. She knew signing it would bring fame but also cost her freedom. Like a nightingale in a golden cage, everyone enchanted by her song, yet never able to fly again. That wasn't what she wanted. She wouldn't sign. Yuan Luoyi said, "Fame isn't that happy. You have many fans, but they don't like the real me. I don't even know how to face them." Yuan Si leaned back lazily in his chair, but his eyes locked onto her. "Dear sister, don't worry. No one is truly real. Everyone's pretending, telling lies, suppressing themselves just to build a good image." He stepped closer, leaned down, cold fingers lightly touching her cheek. "Look at your eyes, so pure and captivating. Sometimes smiling like spring breeze, sometimes crying like winter snow. The seasons alternate in your eyes. It's beautiful. So, be confident. You naturally have a charm that captivates people. You don't need to pretend. It's a gift from heaven. As your brother, how can I watch you waste it? One day, the whole world will fall for you. Let me help you. You'll enjoy the taste of fame." Yuan Luoyi whispered, "The taste of fame." Yuan Si's voice was tempting. "Exactly. Imagine men and women going crazy for you, worshipping you like a god. They'll give you everything, and you'll control them completely. One word from you can send them from heaven to hell. Even your enemies will drop their weapons, kneel before you, letting you do whatever you want." Yuan Si spread his arms wide, eyes wild like an ambitious protagonist, stirring people to devote themselves to him with his charm. Suddenly, he pulled out a crown, silver threads entwined with sparkling diamonds, magnificent and noble. The crown gently landed on Yuan Luoyi's head. Yuan Si grabbed the armchair and spun it sharply toward the mirror. Yuan Luoyi saw herself wearing the crown, truly like a noble princess, while Yuan Si stood beside her like an evil regent, tempting her to become a ruthless queen. Yuan Si said with satisfaction, "Just as I thought, it suits you perfectly. This is the gift I prepared for you, I hope you like it. I also want you to take it with you when we go out. I've already called the reporters, we're ready to announce that you've signed with me. Afterwards, I'll arrange for a stylist and plan your career path, then hold a banquet to introduce you to my network. Is that okay?" Yuan Luoyi knew this wasn't a question. Yuan Ci's controlling nature never allowed for refusal. Just as she was struggling to think of a way to say no, the door was pushed open. Fifth brother Yuan Jun walked in. He wore a white lab coat and gold-rimmed glasses, his naturally curly hair hung by his ears. As the fifth child of the Yuan family, he had just turned 16, still carrying the awkwardness of youth, but his gaze was cold. Yuan Luoyi never dared get close to him because of his obsession with corpses. He often stripped bones clean to make specimens, praising them with fanatic devotion and even wanting to gift them to her. Unfortunately, she was too busy being afraid to appreciate the beauty of those specimens. Yuan Jun's personality was the complete opposite of Yuan Ci's. He hated interacting with the living but was strangely tolerant of corpses, immersing himself in scientific research. He rarely spoke to Yuan Luoyi, which oddly gave her some relief. Yuan Ci's face darkened. "Brother, I didn't call you here." Yuan Jun ignored him, scanning the contract on the table. He strode forward, grabbed Yuan Luoyi's wrist, and shielded her behind himself. "Ha, trying to coax an 11-year-old girl into signing a contract behind her guardian's back? I am her brother and her guardian. You're just one of her guardians, and the worst at that, you've never really cared for her." Yuan Ci placed a hand on Yuan Luoyi's shoulder, sneering, "Better than you teaching her to dissect frogs. She had no interest in electrically shocking frog nerves, yet you forced her to have nightmares for several nights." Yuan Jun brushed his hand away and held Yuan Luoyi tightly behind him. "Scientific experiments develop a child's intelligence. I'm thinking about her future." Yuan Ci retorted, "I'm teaching her to be charming, that's the real skill. She'll have unmatched fame and wealth." Yuan Jun laughed scornfully. "Fame and money are illusions, bought by selling one's soul. She will be smart and free." He said this as he pulled Yuan Luoyi's wrist. "Come on, let this madman go harm others." Yuan Ci grabbed Yuan Luoyi's wrist with anger, warning, "Don't cross my bottom line. She's staying with me today." Yuan Jun sneered, black flames flashing in his eyes. "Let her go." The two brothers faced off, with Yuan Luoyi caught in the middle, nervously glancing between them. It seemed her two brothers were fighting over her guardianship and disagreed on how to educate her. But all she wanted was some peace and quiet. She needed to find a way out. After a moment, Yuan Luoyi said, "I'm hungry. I want to go to the cafeteria." 10 minutes later, she sat eating breakfast in the cafeteria, with Yuan Ci and Yuan Jun on either side, their eyes clashing countless times across the air. Escape failed. Yuan Luoyi regretted not saying she was going to class, but with these two at odds, she probably wouldn't have shaken them off even in the classroom. In front of her, the two brothers restrained themselves somewhat. After all, she was the only normal one in the family. If their dark side showed, it would surely scare her. Their behind-the-scenes battles had probably been bloody for some time. She sighed, realizing the Yuan family couldn't do without eldest brother Yuan Hao. He kept the younger brothers in check, or else they'd be killing each other every day. Other students in the cafeteria also noticed them. The Yuans were good-looking with a unique aura. The three of them standing together were especially striking. Excited whispers spread among the students. "Oh my god, isn't that Yuan Ci? I watched the drama he starred in yesterday, it was amazing. My little sister's hooked on that show too. He's way more handsome in person than on TV. Should we ask for an autograph?" The students hesitated, wary of approaching Yuan Jun, who gave off a keep-your-distance vibe. Everyone knew it was best not to provoke him. Yuan Jun hated kids the most. Sharp voices tortured his nerves, and childish minds made him see a clear divide between humans and animals. But he tolerated Yuan Luoyi because she was like a fragile, innocent little sister. Her tilted head and puzzled expression made him find her cute. Even he found it strange, but he liked feeling like a big brother. In the end, the students gave up. "We'll ask for autographs another day. The guy in the white coat is handsome but a bit scary. I really envy Yuan Luoyi, her brothers are so impressive. No, I admire her. The fact she can calmly eat cold noodles is the real feat." "True." The students sighed and gradually dispersed. In truth, Yuan Luoyi wasn't that calm. She was used to being startled since childhood, so her expressions were few, but facing her two brothers, she was still nervous. She furrowed her brows, thinking hard about how to escape. Yuan Ci leaned in close and whispered, "What's wrong? Want some juice?" Before she could respond, Yuan Jun sneered, "She never drinks juice. You're not fit to take care of her." Yuan Jun pulled a chair closer to Yuan Luoyi. "Don't mind that guy. Just tell fifth brother if you need anything." Yuan Ci shoved Yuan Jun hard, lowering his voice in a threat, "Stay away from her, or I'll make you remember those painful times." Yuan Jun sneered in response, "Painful times? How many times have you actually beaten me? Brother, maybe you should get your brain checked at the hospital." Yuan Luoyi sighed softly, knowing another fight was about to break out. Helplessly, she went back to eating her cold noodles. Just then, Director Zhang hurried over, clearly headed straight for her. For the first time, Yuan Luoyi felt a spark of fondness toward Director Zhang. Even the little mustache on his upper lip seemed friendlier. Ah! The savior's here! She could finally escape the battle zone between her two brothers and enter the peaceful world of ordinary people. Director Zhang approached Yuan Luoyi, carrying a huge stack of books. Bang! He slammed the books down on the table with a thud, making the plates jump. Wiping sweat from his forehead, he turned to Yuan Si and said, "President Yuan, you're here too." Yuan Si politely extended his hand. "Hello." Director Zhang gripped it enthusiastically. "Hello, hello. Thank you so much for coming this time." Previously, when Director Zhang invited Yuan Si to be a guest on the variety show, no one in the crew believed it would happen. They thought it was wishful thinking. But Yuan Si actually showed up, and Director Zhang was deeply grateful. Then, he turned to Yuan Jun. "Professor Yuan, thank you for being on the show. Without experts like you, we wouldn't even know where we went wrong." He reached out to shake hands, but Yuan Jun shot him a cold glare and curled up in his chair, giving no response. Director Zhang laughed awkwardly and withdrew his hand. Yuan Jun was a high IQ genius who hated socializing. Getting him out of the lab was already a big deal. Don't expect him to be anyone's friend. Finally, Director Zhang looked at Yuan Luoyi and couldn't help but smile. She had a kind of endearing charm. "Yuan Luoyi, you're really hard to find. I put the books in Class D earlier, but you weren't there. A classmate said you might be in the cafeteria, so I came over, and here you are." Yuan Luoyi stared at the towering pile of books. "These are for me?" "Of course," Director Zhang said. "There's a knowledge competition tomorrow. This is the study material." The news hit her like a thunderbolt. She was stunned for 2 seconds before pulling herself together. No way! She transferred to Class D to slack off every day, and now she had to study like crazy? She glanced over the titles: World History, 100 Schools of Thought, Math Olympiad, From Beginner to Giving Up, Collection of Chinese and Foreign Poetry, History of World Philosophy, Psychology of Love and Marriage, Basic Physics A, English-Chinese Dictionary. Were these really what an 11-year-old should be studying? The competition was tomorrow. There was no way to finish all this in one night. Winning seemed impossible. Yuan Luoyi thought of Su Sun, who was great at knowledge competitions, had been training since childhood, and had participated in many international contests. Winning was easy for her. According to her past life memories, Su Sun was the second most popular contestant early on the show. Thanks to her outstanding performance in the knowledge competition and her genius, refined lady image, she kept winning trophies. If Yuan Luoyi lost to Su Sun this time, she wouldn't reach 100 influence points, and her chance to make a wish would be spoiled. Director Zhang clenched his fists, cheering Yuan Luoyi on. "I believe in you. The principal even specially approved it so that your fan support team can come tomorrow. You have tons of fans, you're the backbone of our show. Everyone's counting on your performance." Yuan Luoyi grew even more nervous. Fans were coming? She had no idea how to interact with fans. She hadn't said a single word to them yet. This was really bad luck. Ring ring. Director Zhang's phone rang. He answered quickly. "Hello? This is simple. Do exactly as I say, first this, then that." "Yes, and don't do it that way." "Got it. Bye." After hanging up, he looked at Yuan Si. "President Yuan, the staff said a lot of reporters have arrived at the set and are waiting for you." Yuan Si stood and reached out to Yuan Luoyi. "The reporters are here. Let's go." Yuan Jun said coldly, "She's not going with you." Yuan Si replied, "I didn't ask you." He stared at Yuan Luoyi, waiting for her answer. Yuan Luoyi shook her head, refusing. Yuan Si reluctantly withdrew his hand. After all, he hadn't seen his sister in a year. He knew trust took time and couldn't be rushed. "Take your time to think about it. I'm patient and always here when you need me." Yuan Luoyi nodded. "Okay, fourth brother. Goodbye." Yuan Si gently ruffled her hair with some reluctance. "Goodbye." He straightened his somewhat messy clothes and left with Director Zhang. Yuan Jun smiled. He'd won the round hands down. Turning to Yuan Luoyi, he said, "You did the right thing. Don't let that guy control you." Curious, Yuan Luoyi asked, "Why did fifth brother come to school?" Yuan Jun answered, "I'm the question setter for the knowledge competition." Yuan Luoyi's eyes lit up. "Are the questions hard?" Yuan Jun said, "Some are easy, some are hard. But what seems easy to you might not be easy for others. The hard questions are basically hell mode." Yuan Luoyi's heart dropped. This knowledge competition was definitely going to be tough. She patted the stack of books and sighed, "If only I had a photographic memory." Yuan Jun smiled and said, "Having a photographic memory isn't always a good thing. Remembering too much without filtering out the junk can damage your brain." Yuan Luoyi asked, "Damage it?" Yuan Jun nodded. "Yes, it's like overinflating a balloon until it pops. Forgetting is actually a form of protection." Yuan Luoyi fell silent. Every time she reviewed too many memory fragments, her head would ache. Is her body warning her? Stop inputting information, kid. Your brain is about to explode. The memories from 99 lifetimes are overwhelming. No one can remember that much in one lifetime. Forcing it all into your head is dangerous. Suddenly, Yuan Luoyi understood the system telling her to slack off was actually a form of protection. If she didn't slack off and overloaded herself with memories at once, her body wouldn't be able to handle it. Forgetting and slacking off are both ways to protect herself. She slumped back in her chair, feeling a bit discouraged. Originally, she had hoped that relying on the fragments from 99 lifetimes would help her pass the knowledge competition. After all, it had helped her learn English and shooting, accomplishing many things she couldn't before. But now she saw she couldn't depend too heavily on those memory fragments. They could help her, but they could also hurt her like a sharp double-edged sword. After breakfast, Yuan Luoyi said goodbye to her fifth brother, Yuan Jun, clutching the books Director Zhang had given her as she headed to Class D, feeling uneasy. She knew that at 18, she would be sentenced to death and turned to ashes, while her 5 brothers embarked on a path of revenge, the real culprit roaming free, and the Yuan family wiped out. To change that ending, she had to participate in the knowledge competition, raise her influence to level 100, and use the system to wish for everyone's salvation. But looking at the towering pile of books on her desk, she felt powerless. Such a huge challenge, she couldn't see any hope of finishing it. After struggling for a long time, she sat up again and opened a book to start reading. Actually, her learning ability wasn't bad. Except for English, she often ranked first or second in other subjects. With effort, she could learn a lot in a short time. Ding! System warning. Host, please rest as soon as possible. Yuan Luoyi paused in her reading. What? Rest immediately? She glanced at the system's slack-off value, which had turned into effort value, now at 12%. She lowered her head and kept reading. System warning. Effort value 15%, 18%, 20%. Suddenly, Yuan Luoyi felt dizzy and her vision blurred. The words on the page seemed to float off the paper. Countless memory fragments flooded her mind. One moment she was in the Middle Eastern desert, caravans stretching endlessly, the jingling of camel bells. The next she was back in the age of exploration, following orders to sail the seas. Her headache worsened. Nearby, Yu Hua looked at her worriedly. Are you okay? You look terrible. Yuan Luoyi closed the book and frowned. I'm fine. Just need to rest a bit. System notification, effort value reset to 0, restarting slack-off mode. The discomfort disappeared. Yuan Luoyi confirmed 2 things. First, she could keep slacking off. Second, she couldn't help but put in some effort. This system was really strange. She tossed the books aside and decided to go with the flow. The bridge would appear when the boat reached it. As long as she kept slacking off, her influence would increase. Besides, she had already studied many memory fragments and learned knowledge far beyond that of an ordinary middle schooler. In the knowledge competition, she might not necessarily lose to Su Sun. The next day, Yuan Luoyi went to school as usual. The difference was that her eldest brother, Yuan Long, accompanied her getting off the car. She asked curiously, "Big brother, aren't you going to the company today?" Yuan Long gently rubbed her head. "I'm a special guest on a variety show. I missed the first 2 episodes, but this time I finished work early just to spend the day with you." As always, her big brother cared for her in his own way. Yuan Luoyi had already adjusted her mindset and wasn't too nervous, but now that her big brother was here, she felt even more anxious. Yuan Long added, "Yuan Fa will be here too." Now she was even more nervous, unsure about the competition. Big brother, second brother, fourth brother, and fifth brother were all coming. Her third brother was quirky. He might hide in a corner watching secretly. He still owed her a pizza, maybe he'd show up carrying one. All 5 crazy brothers gathered in one place. Thankfully, Big Brother was here, so hopefully, they wouldn't start fighting. But Yuan Luoyi didn't want to be caught up in their chaos. She decided to stick close to Big Brother for safety. The school gate was packed with people. Fans held up lightboards, excitedly looking around. She saw her own name surrounded by big pink hearts. This was her fan club. A pretty young woman spotted her and screamed, "Little sister Luoyi is here. Help, so adorable. Yuan's sister, look over here." We love you forever. Good luck in the competition. Fans raised their phones, cameras following Yuan Luoyi's every move. Without security, the scene might have spiraled out of control. Most of them were beautiful older sisters, there weren't many male fans. Yuan Luoyi didn't understand her place in the entertainment industry. Was she the nurturing little sister favored by women? When they arrived at the Xinghan Middle School activity hall, there were even more people: audience members, reporters, and parents. Director Zhang set up the camera, and the staff bustled back and forth. The contestants had also arrived. From afar, Yuan Luoyi spotted Su Sun. She was dressed beautifully, wearing a striking pink butterfly bow, both excited and nervous. Su Sun caught Yuan Luoyi's gaze and shot her a provocative smile. She was confident about this competition and firmly believed she could beat Yuan Luoyi. Yuan Luoyi found her seat in the front row, sitting alongside the school leaders. Yuan Tao took the empty seat next to her. Yuan Tao asked, "Why aren't you sitting in the contestant area?" Yuan Luoyi replied, "Not feeling like it right now." Yuan Tao's gaze sharpened as he looked at her seriously. "Are you nervous?" Yuan Luoyi sighed softly. Her big brother saw right through her. "Yeah." Just then, their second brother Yuan Fa suddenly appeared from the crowd, carrying a bucket of popcorn. "Sorry, I'm late. Had to wait in line to buy this. Should've sent the assistant." He sat down and leaned toward Yuan Luoyi. "What were you two talking about?" Yuan Tao said, "She's nervous." Yuan Fa suddenly burst out laughing, making Yuan Luoyi glare at him. He quickly composed himself and patted her back. "Don't be nervous. Big brother's got a courage spell for you. It's just a quiz, what's there to be afraid of?" Yuan Luoyi frowned. "This isn't my strong suit. I'll need a miracle to win." Yuan Tao and Yuan Fa chuckled softly. Their little sister's worries were especially endearing to them. Yuan Tao said, "You're a miracle yourself." Yuan Luoyi looked puzzled. He lowered his head and met her eyes. In his usually cold gaze, there was a touch of warmth. "You'll understand eventually." The 5 Yuan brothers were born cold and ruthless, but their sister's arrival made them feel human emotions for the first time. She gave them a newfound tolerance for the world. Without her, they would have been even more wild and cruel. She was their fragile yet indispensable tether to reason. Since she came to the Yuan family, a miracle happened. The world lost 5 madmen and gained 5 brothers who would protect her. The stage lights were adjusted. The knowledge competition was about to begin. The contestants were eager, each wanting to perform well on camera and attract fans. Host Nalan, wearing a water blue cheepa that outlined her graceful curves, said, "All contestants, please come on stage." Yuan Luoyi reluctantly stepped onto the stage. A spotlight shone down on her, so bright she could barely see the floor. It took several seconds for her eyes to adjust. The crowd of fans erupted in excited screams. "Ah, it's Yuan Luoyi. We've waited so long to see her in person. She's so cute, my heart is melting." Other contestants followed onto the stage, each with their own fan support, but Yuan Luoyi's fans were the most enthusiastic, their screams never ceasing. Finding her seat, Yuan Luoyi scanned the group. Besides herself, there were 4 other contestants: Su Sun, Sen Junshen, Class A's monitor Yu Zilong, and Class C's class beauty Hia. Yu Zilong was Yu Hua's cousin. They bore some resemblance. Hia often hung out with Su Sun, but Yuan Luoyi wasn't very familiar with her. There should have been one more contestant, Class B's study committee member Diu, but she was attending a short-term exchange program in the UK today. Host Nalan began the opening remarks, but Yuan Luoyi wasn't paying attention. She focused on the comments popping up constantly on the big screen. Su Sun looks smart, she might win. It has to be monitor Yu Zilong. How else would she be the monitor without skills? I actually think Yuan Luoyi will win. Yuan Luoyi is the cute little sister type from Class D. Xinghan Middle School groups classes by grades. Her grades probably aren't good. Before the comments finished, the big screen suddenly switched and displayed a question. Nalan said, "First question, a qualification test. Answer correctly to continue, answer wrong and you're eliminated. Listen carefully. Which of the following is the formula for the period of a simple pendulum? A. T equals 2 pi square root L/G. B. T equals pi square root L/G. C. T equals 1/2 pi square root L/G. D. T equals 3 pi square root L/G. 5 seconds until the answer is revealed. The timer started counting down. Yuan Luoyi furrowed her brow. The other contestants looked relaxed. This was high school physics knowledge, which middle school students generally wouldn't know, but they had all watched the production team's Fundamentals of Physics and Chemistry A, where the first chapter covered the simple pendulum formula. Time's up, reveal the answer. Su Sun smiled and pressed option A. The others followed suit, choosing A as well. Only Yuan Luoyi didn't select anything. Naylan looked surprised. Why didn't you choose any option? Yuan Luoyi leaned toward the microphone and said, there is no correct answer to this question. The audience immediately erupted in shock. She's really bold. If she's right, everyone else will be eliminated. Then she'd be the champion, wouldn't she? Naylan pulled out a small slip of paper, glanced at it, and loudly announced, the correct answer is A. Yuan Luoyi is disqualified. The other contestants will continue. Yuan Luoyi froze. She had once been an assistant to an old mathematician, and the pendulum formula was definitely not like that. Fans of Yuan Luoyi in the audience cried out in pain. They had come to see her, and now that she was eliminated, they lost interest in the competition. 2 staff members escorted Yuan Luoyi off the stage. She sat in a shadowy corner where no one came by. There was no light, and the bench was cold and hard, truly like sitting on a cold bench. Su Sun smiled triumphantly. With her biggest rival gone, she was sure to win this time. Sen Junxian looked puzzled. Yuan Luoyi was a quick learner. How could she get even this question wrong? At the expert panel, the question setters bent over their notes, busy writing. Yuan Jun sat in the middle, watching Yuan Luoyi with a gentle smile full of admiration. The competition went on, the questions getting harder and harder, and the contestants' expressions growing increasingly tense. Every time an answer was announced, the crowd gasped. Su Sun's performance was outstanding. This girl really knows her stuff. Pretty and smart, truly talented and beautiful. She keeps getting everything right. Amazing. The hall buzzed with excitement, but Yuan Luoyi sat quietly. The feeling was all too familiar. She had been just like this in her previous life, sitting alone in the audience. Class A students shunned her, unwilling to sit beside her. Sen Junxian was cold and indifferent, ignoring all her attempts to get close.